What's up? Hey everyone, I just started, so I'm gonna wait for some people to come in. You can start throwing your questions down about the stock market if you got them, and I'll get to them once more people come in, so more people can benefit from your questions and my answers. And I don't know why I'm turning up the volume on my phone, but I know a couple people have said over the last couple lives that they had trouble hearing, so I just want to make sure everything is good. And then I thought I would just come on here and talk about AMC and what happened today with this potential stock squeeze and answer some of the questions, because my videos were just flooded with tons of people asking about dead cat bounce for what? Bitcoin or AMC or what? What's the dead cat bounce in reference to? And then, like I said, I'll let the questions pile in, and then I'll answer when there's more people so everyone can benefit. But the overall thing that I wanted to talk about was so many people. No, I don't know if it's a dead cat bounce. I don't know if there's. I guess because what it hit like the low 30s, and then it shot up to 35. But I think percentage wise, that's not that much of a percentage gain to call it a bounce. I think we have to see what happens later on this weekend. It's a 3-day weekend, so stock market is closed on Monday. But crypto is open 24/7, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Monday when the markets are closed, but crypto is open, if crypto has any sort of bounce. But I'm really not the crypto expert, so I'm not the one to ask about that. But the thing is, so many people were asking, I want to talk about AMC, and then just throw down your stock questions and I'll answer them. The thing is, what was scaring me a little bit was going on websites like StockTwits and just seeing that massive kind of like herd mentality, of just, one person says something and then everyone parrots that exact phrase or sentence or line, and it just spreads like wildfire. I mean, that's where we've heard these like diamond hands and paper hands and shit like that, where a little teeny phrase just kind of spirals out of control, and sometimes it's funny like HODL, and other times it can get people in real trouble. UWMC, I have no thoughts because I'm not familiar with it. If you want to go on one of my older videos on TikTok and comment and ask, I'll follow up. The latest thing that we're seeing on places like StockTwits are people saying hold until some sort of random price. And when you ask them, hey, can you explain this price to me? How did you come to this valuation? How do you come to the conclusion that AMC is going to be $50, $100, $1,000, or even I've seen, 100,000 price target for AMC. It's just absurdity, and it spreads. And I think part of it is people saying, hold until 100,000 because I want to get out before you. So they're saying, no, don't sell it, never sell it, hold it, never sell until this absurd price. Dizzy J, can AMC stay up this high? I love seeing those comments, make me curious. Yeah, I don't know. And someone in one of my videos earlier today or the last couple of days commented and said, I'm not selling AMC until it hits 100,000. And I commented and I said, do people really believe that AMC could hit $100,000 a share? And I don't want to say we got into it, but he responded and we had a little back and forth where he basically explained to just go watch YouTube videos, that he wasn't going to type out his explanation. But he said, go on YouTube and type in AMC 100K. And that's what I did. And there were a couple videos. They were all nonsensical. Nothing really made sense. There wasn't like a reason why they thought it could get to this price other than it's because what people are saying. And what people are saying can get a lot of retail investors and new investors in a lot of trouble, because you might have a price in mind for a stock like AMC or GameStop or any stock that you're trading. It doesn't have to be one of these short squeezed. It can be a stock that you've invested in, whatever. One of the things that get people in trouble is they buy a stock, they have a target, then they go online and they start reading what other strangers are saying. And those strangers might be brilliant or they might be morons, but you don't know that unless they can give a detailed explanation on a YouTube channel or TikTok video or blog or article or whatever, explaining why they've come up with that valuation or price target, whether they're using fundamental analysis or technical analysis. Yeah, you know, they're different, but they're, hey, Jonathan Juice. It's the same with GameStop going to 1,000. Yeah, so they were a little different. You know, I mean, if you look at if you look at a stock like GameStop, GameStop has 70 million shares on the market, and they were short like 140%. Right? There was that whole scandal with the naked shorts, and there were more shorts than shares available, and all that stuff. You're a female engineer. Hello. There were so many. So when you have a company like GameStop that has 70 million shares, so 70 million isn't that many. When you consider like Apple, for example, has 16 billion shares on the market. 16 billion makes it a very hard stock to move. That's why when we see these blowout quarters with Apple, it doesn't really move that much anymore because they've got so many shares. How do you move a company with 16 billion? The downside to a company having 16 billion shares is if they were to ever have really bad earnings, Apple or any other company, or devastating news or scandal or any sort of bad news, when all those hedge funds who own the majority of these stocks or companies sell and liquidate their entire position, boom. So these companies that have lots and lots of shares can fall. That was a terrible snap. They can fall very quickly. But it's harder to move them up because you need lots of people coming in and buying. So anyway, the point is GameStop has 70 million shares. Apple has 16 billion. GameStop was short 140%. GameStop, it was short 140%. So there was a humongous short squeeze, number one, that comes in. And number two, only 70 million shares. So it's a very limited supply and demand and all that stuff. When you have a very limited supply of something and everyone is covering their shorts, plus all the hype, everyone's getting in because they want to push it higher and higher and higher, what ends up happening is a stock like GameStop can skyrocket. So then people look at GameStop, and this is what's so dangerous about looking at one company and not really understanding how this kind of stuff works, and looking at one company like GameStop and then going, well, GameStop went from 20 to 480. It actually hit 500 after hours one day. But if you look at the like highs and lows of the year, it'll show 470 because it doesn't factor in pre-market or after hours. But it did hit over 500 one time after hours. But even still, looking at 470, so you have GameStop goes from 20 to 470 on a short squeeze. So what does everyone think who missed that short squeeze and missed getting in at 20, 40, 80, 90, 100, whatever GameStop was trading at? Every step of the way, they thought, too late, it's too late, it's too late. I'm even seeing people now in my page here on TikTok saying, oh, $20 for AMC is too high for me. And other people are going, remember when GameStop was 20 and people thought it was too high? And even I thought that when GameStop hit 70 or 80, I had a couple friends call me going, should we get in? And I was like, no. You got to look at the stock and understand that this is a stock that went from $20 a couple days ago to 70 or 80 or 90. It's not going to go any higher. This is a humongous run because what we're thinking based on like how other stocks have had these massive rallies, and we're going, it's just not sustainable. GameStop is like the rule, the exception that proves the rule or whatever that thing is. GameStop went crazy. So now what does everyone do? They look to the next. They want to find, because they missed out on GameStop. They look and they want to think, Dottie Magic, what are you drinking? They look at AMC and they go, AMC now has to be the next GameStop because I'm so upset that I missed out on the GameStop run from 20 to 400. So now I have to find something else, and I'm not gonna sell until it hits the same price as GameStop did, because I've calculated it out and I know if I buy this many shares and it goes from 20 to 400, I'll have made X amount of money. And so that's what they do, and they end up holding way too long, because what they don't understand is that a company like AMC has 480 or 408, or maybe just it's over 400 million shares on the market. So AMC has 400 million, GameStop had 70 million. So you're already talking about a larger number of shares. Not only that, but AMC is short 20%. GameStop was short 140%. So you can see how a stock like GameStop can have a massive rally. And if you understand how this stuff works, you can look at it and go, wow, I understand why a stock like GameStop was able to squeeze so much, because it had a very limited supply, 70 million shares, and it was short more than the shares available, 140%, which causes humongous buying pressure. So when you look at Jameson, nice. When you look at AMC, you have to factor in, you have to make a couple conclusions here. One is 400 and something million shares, so it's going to be harder to move. Two, 20% short interest. So way less people are shorting this. Now, the numbers only update twice a month, so we might come to find out. I don't know when the date is. I forget when the date is when they'll issue the new shorts. It could be a little higher. It could be 30, 40, 50% by the time they issue the new report, because now people are really starting to short. So why not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? What will happen? I don't know. You know, if a report comes out that there are more shorts and there's a short squeeze because Wall Street bets and Reddit and everything band together and buy and hold and not sell their shares, it could have a run even higher. But we don't know that. You know, so for the people saying you sold too cheap, it's going to be 50 on Wednesday for sure. It might be, but it might not be. And as someone who makes my income comes from trading stocks, think. I'm going to answer your question because it's a good one. And then there was one that I have to scroll up to for a second when I'm finished. AMC might hit 50 by Wednesday. It might not. And are you going to look back on Thursday? Let's say AMC dumps on Thursday and it never hit 50. Are you going to look back and go, oh, well? Or are you going to go, fuck, I knew I should have sold it on Tuesday when it was 38 or 25 or whatever. How you react to that scenario tells you what you should consider doing. If you think you're going to regret not selling at any price, you should lock in some gains and then YOLO the rest. Yeah, Dottie, you always want to take your profits, but it's important to say you don't have to take all of them. And that's another thing that I've seen so much this week is I got a lot of DMs from people saying, I sold everything and I sold it at 20 or 18 or 23 or 27. And then they saw it get to 37 today. And they're sitting there going, shit. And so that's why it's important when I say take your profits, especially with a stock like this, it's important to add that little disclaimer or something to say, take some of your profits, right? And look, if you don't need the money, if you're only in 10 shares or 100 shares, whatever you're in, and it's only a small amount, or you don't care if you lose it, you're so rich, you could put 10,000 in and not care if you lose it all. And by the way, this whole notion that you're going to lose it all is kind of absurd too, because you can cut your losses at any point. You don't have to lose 100%. And that's also, people are assuming then that it would get to zero. AMC's not going to zero. If it dumps really hard, you know, it'll probably settle out around 12, maybe 5, who knows. So it comes down to a couple different scenarios. Like Jonathan says, don't invest more than you can't lose. And especially on something like this. If you're putting in $10 or 10 shares, or you're buying $100 worth or $200 worth, and you really don't care if you lose all of that or 50% of it, then by all means, roll the dice, hold it, and never sell any. If you... Tessa's mommy, hi. You said your name was Kat, right? Hey, Jay Beto. If you, now I lost my train of thought because everyone's, hey, wow, a lot of people are in here. 41 people. Hi, everybody. If you need that money for bills, if you need that money for rent or medical expenses or paying off student loans or putting down a little bit more on your mortgage, people are getting shamed into taking, Kat, I knew it. People are shamed into taking their profits. And the reality is, the GOAT, thanks. But I prefer Stock God. I'm just kidding. People are being shamed into taking their losses, and they shouldn't be shamed. Now, They might regret it later, but that's a learning experience for new traders. And the learning experience is you don't have to sell the entire position. You just don't. You can sell half, you can sell a quarter, you can sell, if you have 100 shares, you can sell 10, take a little bit. You can sell 75% and YOLO the rest, as I have done. I bought at Charwet's, I bought 20 shares for fun when it was at 16, just keeping an eye on it. What's the painting on the wall? Actually, a company, if you go on my link tree, there's a link with a 10% off coupon. They sent me this. It's from a company called Wall Street Prints, and the website is just the full Wall Street, like not abbreviated, just wallstreetprints.com. And it says up here somewhere over his antlers, bulls win, and it is a bull knocking out a bear. And they just sent it to me and asked if I would post it. Yes, Orange Knight Invest. You can also always buy back. That's so important for people who are kicking themselves going, oh, I bought it at 10 and there's nothing that says that you can't buy back. And while we're on the topic of buying back, I want to talk about Dogecoin in relation to that topic because it's really important. You know, I had a friend who bought Dogecoin under a penny, sold it when it hit like 3 or 4 cents, and he's kicking himself every day. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to Dogecoin moving forward. Maybe the whole Dogecoin hype has run its course. Maybe this is just where it's going to hang forever. Maybe in a couple months, it could have a surge up to $1. Your guess is as good as mine. But in that moment where he was sitting there kicking himself because it was 8 cents, 12 cents, 15 cents, he's sitting there going, oh, and the reality is like, dude, it's still like 15 cents. It's still nothing. You can still buy $100 worth or $1,000 worth. It's still so cheap. It's not like you missed the boat. It's not like Amazon shares, where it was $300 and now it's 3,000 and you can't afford to buy, a couple of shares. It's still under 15 cents. I want to scroll up for a second because somebody asked a really good question. Think, you asked, does anything about the business GameStop actually matter or no? No. From a business perspective, if you were to do like a fundamental analysis on GameStop, it's brick and mortar, man. I mean, just from a business perspective, brick and mortar's dying. I have a PlayStation. Do you know how often I go to a store to buy a video game? Literally never in my life, except for when I was like a kid and I had a Super Nintendo and we'd have to go to, I think it was called KB Toys. You remember KB Toys? And that's where I would go and buy my video games. I don't buy my video games in a store anymore. I got my PlayStation on Amazon. I'm not going to GameStop. So GameStop, the business, now if they pivot and they get into NFTs or they do something and they close up their brick and mortar, potentially there's a turnaround there. But as it stands right now, I don't think so. I don't think it matters at all what they do. I think it's just purely, and it's not even that people like the company. I mean, if you go online and read about what people think about GameStop, they hate that company. They walk in with their video game and they're like, what can I get for this? And they're like $2. You could sell that video game on eBay for 10 or 15 and do better. So people hate GameStop. Like, why have they rallied around this company that they all seem to hate so much? There are companies out there that people really believe in and love. That's where they could have rallied behind some company and really helped, but it seems like no one liked it. Okay, here's the question. I don't know if Eric Bosco 1 is still in here. Do you think EBON will recover? I'm down 50%. I'm new to trading and now learning I should have cut my losses. I don't know what EBON, E-B-O-N, I don't know what that is. If you're like, look, if you're a trader, you should always cut losses around 3 to 7% if you're trading something. And you give yourself 3 to 7% because different stocks move in different ways. So you might have a stock, for example, that because you've studied it and you've had it on your portfolio or on your watch list, that in volatile times, the stock can go down 4% in a day and then be right back up the next day. Well, then why would your stop loss be 3%? If you know the stock can go down to 4 and then move higher, you wouldn't get stopped out at 3 because then you're getting out of something that might recover. You would set your stop loss at around 5. Or even if you don't set physical stop losses or actual stop losses, a Oh, it's a blockchain mining company, but is it a stock? Is it a publicly traded stock? Like on the stock exchange, or is it like a cryptocurrency? I have 300 shares. Yeah, we're live. I'm not going anywhere. I just started. No, 100,000 is absolutely not possible. It would have a market cap of like over $150 trillion. Apple has a market cap of 2 trillion. It would have, hey, Pick City. We're talking about, well, I don't know what you're talking about in the comments, Yakland, but what we're talking about, or at least I'm talking about, is AMC could have hit 100,000 or 5,000. After what happened with GameStop, I'm reticent to say that I think a stock won't ever hit a certain price. Peg City, the topic today is kind of like AMC, cutting losses, taking gains, YOLOing a little bit if you want, holding on to some, but mostly locking in gains, because it's what I really wanted to talk about. Sean, hey Kenneth from Texas, what's up? We're in Texas. Rah 940. It could hit any number. I don't think it'll hit 100,000. I don't think it'll hit 1,000. I think it's virtually impossible. There's not enough money in the world for it to go to 140 trillion market cap. AMC plus, like what we were talking, Rara, I think you might be new to this chat. So earlier in the chat, I was saying GameStop had 70 million shares outstanding and 140% short interest. So a small amount of shares and an unbelievable short interest. And so people look at AMC and GameStop and they go, well, AMC did this, so AMC is going to do the same thing. But it might not be possible from a short squeeze perspective, because AMC has 400 million or more shares on the market, and they're only short around 20%. That number might change in the coming weeks because the shorts update twice a month. So we might find out in a couple days or weeks that AMC is actually short 40% now. As it stands right now, any research you can find will say that it's around 20% short. So you're talking about a stock in AMC that is short 20% and has 400 million shares. So it's going to be harder to move a company like that from the perspective of a short squeeze. It doesn't mean that AMC can't go up because people are buying and buying and buying. I think $50 to 100. I think 100 is a stretch. But I also thought GameStop at 100 was a stretch, and look what happened. So that's why I say I'm reticent to say it'll never do anything like this, because it comes back to bite you when you come on an app like TikTok, especially, and you say, it's never going to hit that price. Then when it does hit that price, everyone remembers, and what do they all say? Well, this didn't age well. So I never say it's impossible. 100,000, I think is pretty safe to say impossible. Does it matter that, Kevin the Gray. Oh, I lost your comment. Shit, hold on. Does it matter that AMC has a better business model? Yes, from a long-term investment perspective. No, from what's just going on with all this hype around Wall Street Bets and GameStop and all that. The whole reason that I bought AMC, I bought a lot of AMC when it was around $3 and $4 a share prior to Wall Street Bets. The whole reason I did that was because of a COVID recovery play. I thought when the theaters reopen and COVID is over, just from the perspective of a story, AMC is going to have a bounce. That's why I bought it. And I set a price target of around $20 a share, because if you look at the 10-year, 20-year chart of AMC, I don't remember when they went public, but it was within, I think, the last 10 years. If you look at the 10-year chart, the high of AMC prior to today was $31 or something. So, and that's all-time high, all-time. So when you're looking at a stock like AMC and you're going, I wonder where it could get to, I said it might not hit its all-time high of 30, but it could hit 20. So my target for AMC prior to the original GameStop Wall Street Bets situation was, I'm buying AMC at $3, $4, and I'm holding until it hits 20. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, because we don't know when COVID's going to end. And then Wall Street Bets happened. And I hit my price target within a couple of days. So you best believe, because I always say take your profits, I took my profits, but I did not take all of them. I took the majority, maybe 50%. I took 50% of my gains out, and I YOLO'd, and I held the rest. And it ended up going a little higher, and then it dropped. And I wasn't really worried, because even though it was like around $9 or $10, A, it was still over my purchase price, and B, my target was 20 prior to Wall Street Bets. So I'm still, I've still got time. I've still got a little bit of time for this stock to rally. So, and now it only has to rally $10 more to get to my price target, because it's around $9. So I held. I didn't cut losses. I bought a little bit more at 9. I bought a little bit more at 11. And then I've just been selling little bits and pieces until I get to a point where I think something could happen with the stock. Right now we're entering in like this weird short squeeze period. We're entering this short squeeze period. Now I'm not touching my shares. I'm not touching them. I've got 600 shares of AMC at an average price of like $13, 13 to 14, because I bought a little higher, and then I still have some at like around $10 from weeks ago. I'm holding, because this is the amount of money for me that I don't care. AMC is not going to zero. So when people say you should only play what you want to lose 100% of, I'm not worried about AMC going to zero. I'm not worried about AMC, period. If it drops back down to 5, I'm not super concerned. I think someone in the comments mentioned Lawless. I'll tell you about it in a second. If AMC drops back down to 5, I really think Amazon or Netflix or some company is going to come in and just buy it. It would be so cheap at this point for some other company. Not now, because it's at $30 a share or 25. But if it goes back down to 5, I think someone's going to snap right in and buy it. Did I sell at 36? No. I didn't, because this is the position that I have, that I'm just going to YOLO it. If it like I said, if it doesn't get back up to 36, I'm not particularly worried. I think it probably could go a little higher next week. If we get to 50, I'm gonna sell some, and then I'm just gonna again YOLO what's left. So I have 600 shares. If it gets to 50, I'll sell a quarter or half or some number like that. I don't know. We'll see. And then I'm just going to hold the rest. If it drops, it drops. I have such little invested right now that I don't really care at this point. I've taken the majority of my gains. My target. Here's the problem. It's hard to come up with a target for a stock like AMC, because technical analysis doesn't really matter right now. There's so much hype. And there's so much potential of a short squeeze coming next week again, that technical analysis doesn't matter, and you wouldn't even be able to look at anything, because today was the all-time high. So it's not like I can look at a 10-year chart and go, oh, it used to be all these different prices. That can give me some kind of gauge or idea of where the stock could go. There isn't anything, so we're all just kind of flying blind here. Which is why it's kind of dangerous too, because you have all these people on StockTwits, on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram saying, it's going to 100. No, it's going to 1,000. No, it's going to 10,000. No, it's going to this price. And so you have all these different numbers, and people don't know when to sell now, because they think, yeah, I'll sell when it gets to 30. And then someone else goes, no, why would you do that? 50. And they go, oh, okay, I won't sell when it's 30. I'll sell when it's 50. Well, it hit 37 today, and that person who might have debts or medical bills or mortgage or is drowning in, other kind of financial problems could have really used that money. But they didn't sell because they listened to some stranger on the internet, which is why I always say you've got to take some of your profits. Take a little bit and then YOLO the rest. That's what's so important, because, and the person who didn't sell at 50, they go, yeah, I'm going to sell it at 50. Well, if it hits 50, someone else is going to go, no, what are you, crazy? Don't sell it at 50. It's going to 100. And so you just have so much misinformation out there that it's hard to know who to listen to, which is why really at the end of the day, you should be listening to yourself and how much money you have. And if it's a number that you're happy with, if you need that amount of money, you know, if you have bills that are thousands of dollars and you have thousands of dollars of getting profits, and you have a bill with a very high interest rate of 17% or something, and your AMC gains can wipe out your debts, why wouldn't you take it? Why? Because some guy on TikTok says it's going a little higher? Take the majority, YOLO the rest. You know, Wendio, I think you all know crypto Wendio. They call it a moon bag in the crypto world. In the stock world, they just say play with the house's money. Take out everything, leave in what you put in. Let me read some of these comments. Jonathan, yeah, I think it's a big factor when you buy and price. Whoa, a whole bunch of comments just came in. Mark Taylor, yeah, Lawless, I don't know if you're still in here. I was saying before you, yeah, FOMO is the issue. Giant, Bane, something. FOMO is the issue. FOMO is what gets people in trouble. And I had a friend who bought it. Man, listen to this one. I had a friend who bought GameStop yesterday at 30. When it dropped to 27, she panicked and sold. Then this morning, she was kicking herself that it was 37, so she bought back in at 30. Didn't sell at 37. It dropped to 25, and she sold again. So she got double losses because that's what FOMO does. It gets people in trouble. No, I am not. Buddy Love, HCMC. Yeah, giant Baines, even with just a 20% stock short, you know, people are forgetting that it's not just that the stock is short 20%, which isn't really that much, which is why I say that a stock like AMC can't move or isn't likely to move as much as GameStop. But that's not the only thing that drives these stocks. People buy them too, and that can move the stock price higher as well, especially if there's renewed enthusiasm or excitement, or people buy because they think a big short squeeze is coming, and then they hold, and then the shorts come in and they short it, and then the short number comes out and it's even higher than 20%. And then you know what happens is like kind of like herd mentality or mob mentality on especially places like StockTwits. They go, look, there's more people shorting it. Buy it, because it's this war now between the shorts, which are like the hedge funds, and the retail traders. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. It's not just that it's short 20%, but there's also all this buying that's going on too from retail traders who just want to get in and have it. Lawless, I don't know if you're still in here. Dottie Magic, do you make enough to take me out for a steak dinner? Yeah. I hope you're still in here, because now I want that steak dinner. Lawless, I don't know if you're still in here, but I was saying a company called Wall Street Prints sent me this. You can't see it. If you watch some of my videos from earlier in the week, you'll see some more close-up pictures of it. But in between his antlers, horns, it says Bulls win, and he's knocking out a bear, and that's the bear's face right there. They just sent it to me. And then they asked me to plug it, so that's what I did. Quinn, I took out my original investment plus a little, I lost it. Plus a little bag at 30, so now it's worry-free money. Yup. Are we buying AMC? That's up to you, man. I don't tell anyone what to buy. Yeah, it was a gift. I wouldn't have bought it. Someone else asked me a question about minimalism. I want to try to find it. How much do I need to live off on the course? Okay. Oh, Peg City. I know you're a minimalist. How much money could you live on 1 year? I don't know. I spend most of my money. My health insurance is $300 a month. So that's probably around $4,000 a year. My condo fees are $400 a month. So that's whoa. Hey, thank you. Thanks, Kat. That's another, what, 4,000-ish a year. My bills, I mean, it's summer now, so my air conditioning, my electric bill's going to go up because I sweat a lot. So I have the AC blasting 24/7 in the summer, basically. And then it's just like, little stuff, bills, cell phone. The majority of my money outside of my serious bills goes to food. I like to eat. I like to go to new restaurants. I like to try new food. Now that COVID's over, I was thinking of doing some like statewide travel. I know overseas traveling isn't so such a good idea yet. Like overseas countries, a lot of them don't have the vaccine, so there's like in India what's going on. Plus, a lot of these places overseas are still kind of closed up, and I want to go and see stuff and eat stuff. And so if I go to Thailand, but everything's boarded up, who cares? I think I've answered those questions. Let me scroll up now. Oh, wait, I liked this. Diamond Hands doesn't pay the bills. Oh, no chill penguin. Hey, you never lose taking profits. Yeah. I think I think I want to talk on that a little bit more. I think the thing is that people worry so much about is they look at something like a Bitcoin or GameStop and they think, man, I missed my chance on that, so I need to find the next one. But the reality is there isn't always going to be the next one. There isn't always going to be another Berkshire Hathaway that is a $300,000 or $400,000 per share stock. There isn't going to be, most likely, another Bitcoin, another cryptocurrency that gets to 60 grand. There might be. But the odds of you being in it and staying in it the whole time are fairly unlikely, right? If you purchased a Bitcoin at, say, $100 a coin or $1,000 a coin, would you have held it all this way? No. The odds are when it hit 10 grand, you probably would have cashed out. Man, you probably would have cashed out when it hit 2 grand because you just doubled your money. I think the percentage of people who buy very low and just hold forever are very slim to none. Not none, but very slim. And what you might end up seeing, though, is a lot of people buying and holding a whole bunch of garbage forever because they're hoping it's going to be the one. And that's just not realistic. And that's why it's so important. To take some gains while you got them. Because not everything is going to be the next GameStop or the next Bitcoin or the next Berkshire Hathaway. Miro Future, what did you end up trading today? So, hey, Varg. What I traded today, I don't day trade. Also, I want to move this a little bit because it feels like a lot of ceiling, and I want to be centered. What did you end up trading today? Oh, so I don't day trade for the most part. I swing trade. I had some skills that I sold today because it's way up from when I bought it. And I sold some Hexo, which is a cannabis company that I was buying a lot in the mid sixes. It hit 750 today. I'm out. It dropped. I'll buy back in later. And I have AMC, which I've been selling a little, but I've stopped selling at this point. Hold on, wait. Lawless, you asked the question. Yeah, I own the Bronco. $400. $400 is my condo fee. There's no pool, there's no gym, but I live in the middle of Washington, D.C. $400 for a one-bedroom apartment that covers all utilities except electric is really, really good. That was my, I don't know, what do you call it when you watch those shows and they say, here are the must-haves on their like HGTV? My must-have was a really low condo fee because the majority of the condos in my neighborhood, the condo fees are around $800 to $1,000 a month. I'm just not paying that. And they also, by the way, they have doormen and pools and stuff like that. And land, they have property, so that needs to be maintained. They have engineers who live on site. I don't have any of that in my building. So what I said was find me a place that has the lowest condo fee. That was most important. And second most important was a parking spot for my Ford Bronco so it doesn't have to sit on the street because, someone's going to hit it. And someone did. Holding garbage, the Peg City investing philosophy. AMC is in a unique situation. Wang, any chance Ethereum hits 1,000? I don't think so, but it's possible. You know, I guess I haven't really told too many people this yet, but I got an offer from Crypto.com. They're going to sponsor me to make some videos. Don't worry, I'm not going to spam everyone. But what I like about Crypto.com, and I'm sure you can do this with a lot of others, is you can set alerts on your phone to give you price target alerts. One of the things that I like about the Crypto.com app is I can set an alert and it will text me or buzz on my phone when my stock gets to my target price. You can set those alerts at every price point you want. And by the way, I do that with stocks too on TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim. I have alerts on my phone, and if you want to learn how to set alerts for stock trading, I have videos on my YouTube channel. But you're asking, can Ethereum hit 1,000? I really think that would be unlikely. I think it's around 2,400 right now. I think it's unlikely that it could get to 1,000. It might get to 1,700-ish. You have to look at previous support and resistance lines and kind of plot out where it's been. If there is a market sell-off like people are expecting, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets back into the 1900s. And then from that point, you would want to start averaging in very slowly, right? You don't want to go all in at 1900 because it could drop to 17 or could drop to 15. And you don't want to tie up all your money at 1900. So, and this goes for stocks too. You can scale in slowly, 25% at a time or a dollar amount at a time. You know, if you have $500 that you wanted to put into a crypto, you could do 100. It drops a little lower, you could do another 100, like that. Cat, yes, food, yeah. Skills is the stock, Lawless, SKLZ. It's a video game. It's a video game thing. Yeah, Kat, I also think 1850s to 1700s is probably the lowest Ethereum will get. Because at a certain point, you get to a level that is so appealing to these whales and big investors that they're coming in and they're just going to gobble it up. And then you're going to get FOMO. It's going to go 17. It's going to go to 2,000. And then everyone's going to go, oh, no, I better buy it at 2,000 before it gets up to 3,000 again or whatever. So there's a lot that goes into this. Dilly Willy. That's my biggest problem. I just got a message from someone who follows me on here, and she's been doing the Fibonacci things, and she goes, it's amazing how accurate it was. I've been plotting them all day just to see. My biggest problem is being patient enough to move in and out of positions slowly. Yeah, I think the thing you have to do is ask yourself, you know, I think what you're feeling is you're probably feeling like you want to get in before it moves to the upside, which is, you know, it's always a great idea to put in a little bit. That way you have some skin in the game. So if it does go higher, you're not going to be kicking yourself going, oh, I waited and I missed my chance. On the other hand, the flip side to that is if you go all in at a certain price and then it drops lower, you're going to be sitting there doing the same thing. Oh, I can't believe I went all in at this price and now it's so much lower. Oh boy, everyone's asking about AMC. This is going to be an AMC night, so I think some of you guys might get bored. Malharsh, you asked, did you buy puts or calls? Neither. I don't really trade options. Although I did, honestly, the funny thing is, I never trade options. I make about 10 options trades per year, and I lose on about 90% of them. I've been trading stocks for 11 years, and that's my bread and butter. That's what I'm good at. Options, I'm no good at options, and I try, and I just think, screw it, I don't care. I'm good at my thing, and that's what I'm going to stick to. But every once in a while, last week I thought, man, maybe I should buy a couple of calls for AMC, and I didn't. And this would have been the one time that I'd been right. Aaron Johnson, hey, dog lady, save some of that money for taxes. You know I will. Well, that's another good point. Someone asked a video about taxes for AMC that I'll talk about as well. How often does a stock, this is Aaron Johnson's question, how often does a stock hover around its 52-week low? It depends on a lot of factors. One, how much volume is in the stock, how much interest is in the stock, and I don't mean interest, I mean interest like, are people interested in it, or hedge funds interested in it? what the technical analysis looks like, what that sector looks like. So if it's a sector that the whole sector has gotten beaten up and there's prolonged fears of, say, maybe it's a housing crisis or a banking crisis or inflation related, whatever the reason is, if the whole sector is down, it can stay at its 52 weeks lows for a while. If it's just that one individual stock, though, there's a potential for what we talked about, or at least a couple of my videos ago, about a bounce play, which is it's fallen so quick, so hard, that there's a potential for a quick bounce, which could also turn into what we've talked about as well, which is a dead cat bounce, where it bounces a little bit and then goes back down. Either way, you want to be very quick because you don't know what's going to happen. So if you're trying to do a bounce play, which is a very quick trade in and out, or you're afraid that it could be a dead cat bounce, the whole objective to either one of those is to get in very quickly, get out. If it goes a little higher, who cares? You don't want to chase something that's at its 52-week lows because it could be perceived as catching a falling knife. You're trying to time the bottom and catch it. It's super risky. Bounce plays, dead cat bounce kind of trades are just usually a bad idea. Let me scroll up here because I got a lot of questions about AMC. Danny. Hey, Danny. What strategy for taking profits for AMC? It's a hard strategy to have. And the reason that it's hard is because there's no way to really strategize a stock like AMC. It's not like you can draw, if you've been watching some of my videos, it's not like you can draw Fibonacci lines on these stocks and plot out previous support and resistance because the stock has never been at these prices before. Really, the best thing you can do is say, am I happy with this profit? If you're happy with the profit, take a percentage of it. I think it's important to remind everyone that you don't have to sell the whole position. If you have 1,000 shares, you don't have to sell all 1,000. You could sell 200. You could sell 100. If you have 100 shares, you can sell 10. You can sell 5. You don't have to sell the whole position ever. And with something like this, where we're kind of heading into these uncharted territories with AMC, it might drop. It might hold support at one of these levels here for a week or a couple days, or it might dump, or it might rocket. Nobody really knows. The question you got to ask yourself is, if someone knocks on your door and says, hey, I've got $3,000 here, and you can have it right now, or I can come back in a week and it might be 6,000 or it might be 0. What are you going to do? Are you going to take that 3,000, or are you going to go, If you go, then it tells me you probably didn't really need that 3,000 in the first place, in which case you YOLO it and who cares? If you're sitting there going, man, I could really use that 3,000, you might want to take a percentage of it. What price do you think AMC will reach? Your guess is as good as mine, man. It could be 50, it could be 100. I don't think, because like what we've been talking about, if you're new to the live, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot because a lot of new people are coming in asking the same questions. So if you're bored and you want to hit it, I understand. Where was the question? What do you think AMC will reach? GameStop, I'm going to use GameStop over and over as my example too. GameStop had 70 million shares on the market, still does, and they were short 140%. And so when GameStop had its squeeze, you had very low, a very small amount of shares, 70 million, not many. Apple has 16 billion for perspective. So you have a very limited supply, 70 million. And then you have it short more than the shares available, 140%. Probably mostly because of illegal, naked shorts where they're selling the shares that they don't actually own. Anyway, when you have a very limited supply and 140% short interest, it can fly. AMC has 400 and something million shares. It might be closer to 500 million. AMC has 400 or whatever shares on the market, and their short interest is 20%. So more shares and less short interest. Now that short interest number might change in the days or weeks to come because the short interest updates twice a month. So, we might see that number increase maybe to 40%, maybe to 60%. Your guess again is as good as mine. Or not. So it's hard to assign a price target on something like this when it's never been at these levels before. Hey, thank you for the coins. Thank you again. Oh, finger hearts. I don't know what that is, but thank you. It could be 1,000. Yeah, but so when people say it could be this, it could be that, where are you getting that number from? I think a lot of people, when they say it could be 1,000, they're just parroting what they've seen on StockTwits and on TikTok and on Instagram. They're just parroting. Why are we talking about Jason Statham? I heard that movie was really good, though. Pantera or Slayer? Man, I don't know if Jay Beto is still in here, but he's a big Slayer fan. I'm a big Slayer fan, too. I like Pantera. I forget what the lead singer's name is. The whole white power thing that he did a couple years ago kind of was a little weird. He says he was kidding. I don't know who makes a joke like that and thinks it's a joke. Let me ask you a question. It's very hot in here. I'm going to turn on my air conditioning. If it's too loud and you have trouble hearing me, tell me and I will turn it off. Is that too loud? Now do I feel like I'm shouting over the air conditioning? Let me know. I'm going to go with Slayer. Repentless is a great song. Yeah, Phil Anselmo. Peg City, Rage Against the Machine. I'm supposed to see them in 2022. I was supposed to see them last August, but it got canceled for COVID reasons. I'm very excited to see that. Very excited for the Rage Against the Machine concert. Is my air conditioning too loud, you guys, in the background? That AC is money you can invest. Sweat it out. Yes, dangerous D-Waves. I do have stock in AMC. I'm not selling anymore. I did not sell when it hit 37. Also the other thing that's really funny about this is you have all these people who are saying, don't sell, it's going to 50 or 100 or whatever. And then I would bet you that it's those exact same people who, when it hit 37 and dropped, go, did you sell it at 37? No, dumbass, you should have. People are just playing both sides of the coin. For me, I'm not touching the shares that I have left. They're my YOLO trade. AC is fine, not too loud. Good, thank you. Mark Taylor, hi, I know you. What was I saying? I forget. Oh. User Adrian, 99. All is well. Stocks did end in a good note. AMC's business model may be fundamentally changing. Yeah. Oh, that's Lawless. Hey. It might be. I think AMC is going to have to adapt to all the home streaming stuff. Does AMC really want to be another one of these, like, what are they called, over the top things, like a Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, HBO Max, Apple TV? Does AMC really want to get into this streaming business? And can they do anything to separate themselves? At this point, it seems like that space is awfully cluttered. Let me see, there's some new comments. I'm just going to wait for them to pop up here. I thought there were new comments. But I guess, oh, here they go. I would not be surprised if the AMC comes out and sells more stock to raise capital. They did that. They did that already. I don't know if they're going to do that again. LG, hey. Oh, you're in here. Where's Anu? All my New Yorkers. Someone should invite Anu if they're friends with her on here. I don't know if I can invite her because I don't know if I follow her. Peg City, are you willing to look at a few stocks? No, because I'm on my phone and my computer is in my bedroom. If you want to if you want to DM me or comment on a video, I'll do video responses. Oh shit! Somebody asked me to do a video on technical analysis for Alibaba, and I forgot. I'll do that as well. I mean, you can ask me questions. If I know anything off the top of my head, I'll tell you, and if I don't, I'll tell you too. Yeah, ask me. If I don't know, I'll say. But as far as technical analysis, I can't because my computer, and I don't want to go and get it. Although I guess I could. Cajun Boy, do you use trailing stop losses? No, because I don't use trailing stop losses or stop losses in general because I'm a full-time self-employed stock trader, so I'm literally at my screen all day anyway, and I've got all of my charts up on the screen at once so I can see what's going on. So I don't need to set stop losses or trailing stop losses because I'm always watching them. If I worked a part-time job or a full-time job and trading was like my side thing where I was swing trading a little here and there, then I absolutely would use trailing stop losses or stop losses in general, simply because I might not be able to look at my charts throughout the course of the day. I know some people have a little bit more flexibility in their office jobs to pull up their phone or pull up their computer and check their charts. Some people, though, especially if you work retail, they don't let you on your phone at all. So that might be a little bit harder. In that case, setting stop losses, trailing stop losses, buy orders, stuff like that would definitely be a good idea. McGilly Buddy, what's the difference between swing trading and day trading? So day trading, LG NYC, I'm the OG NYC person here. Yeah. McGilly Buddy, the difference between swing trading and day trading. So day trading means that you open and close all of your positions all on the same day, right? So Monday morning, you buy your stocks. By the close of market, so at 4 p.m., you sell. Win, lose, or draw, right? Profit, break even, or loss. You sell, and on Tuesday morning, you start all over again. Those are like the day trading rules. Swing trading is anything that you hold for more than a day, and it kind of varies from depending on who you talk to or what you read. Sometimes swing trading can be a couple days, sometimes it can be weeks, sometimes it can be months. Usually, though, it's under a year, although I've heard people say that they swing trade stocks for a year or two. I don't think you're swing trading at that point. I think you're just investing. User Adrian, Disney is the one stock that I am buying in Baidu. Those sound good. I think I got some comments that I got to wait for to reload. Here we go. Completely lawless. You wake up at 9:30. What time do you go to bed? I actually, lawless, wake up at 9:20. So I give myself a little bit of time to check pre-market. I usually go to bed around 1 or 2 in the morning. Oh, is Anu here? Did I miss Anu? Anu, oh, you're here. Anu, were you in here when I said that someone should invite you? Were you in here already? McGilly Buddy, you're welcome. Makes sense to me. Thanks for the input. You are welcome. Lawless, if you go on a vacation, do you still trade on the beach or get out and disconnect? A little of both. I think that's kind of, I don't want to say it's one of the downsides to trading, but the fact that it's so easily accessible nowadays, unless you're like a cabin in the woods with no Wi-Fi, is that you really can trade from anywhere. You can trade on your smartphone. You can trade on a tablet. You can trade at the Starbucks. You can trade anywhere. So, I guess it depends on what the point of the vacation is. If I'm going somewhere to really unwind and get away, then I'll usually exit all of my swing. I won't buy anything, and I might not sell anything if I'm holding. I might not sell just for the sake of selling, but I'll kind of like keep an eye on my stuff. Just to be like up to date on everything. But usually if I go on a vacation, I still can trade. I went to Italy. The last vacation that I went on was Italy 2 years ago prior to COVID. And Italy's ahead of us. So what we would do is go out all day, come back to the hotel room in the afternoon, and then I would do a little trading, check stuff. Also, Italy has Wi-Fi readily available pretty much everywhere. So I was always on, and I could always check and glance. You know, you're waiting online at a museum or something, you pull out your phone, you can trade your stocks. That's kind of one of the plus sides of this job. At least glance at it. You know, you can set alerts like I talked about earlier. You can set alerts. So I can set an alert and say, hey, if this stock gets to, if I bought it at 40 and it gets to 37, alert me so I can make a decision whether I want to sell, and then I can go about my day and enjoy my vacation. Or I can say, hey, I bought it at 40, set an alert to 43. And if I get an alert that it hit $43, I can very quickly say, hold on, pull up the chart and make a decision as to whether I want to sell and lock in my gains, or, oh, look, there's a lot of volume and it's breaking out. Let's go get a cappuccino or a latte somewhere and sit for a second so I can make this trade. But, you know, it depends on what the vacation is. Dangerous D Wave, do you have any faith in this squeeze? Because for some reason I do. Yeah, I think it could squeeze a little higher. I don't know if it'll get to 50. You know, if it does get to 50, I'm gonna cut. I've already said I'm gonna cut probably half of my position. But again, I'm not saying with 100% certainty that I'm absolutely gonna sell when it hits 50, because I have to see what happens during the day with the volume that the stock has. So if the stock has a lot of volume, you know, I might not sell it at 50. We have to wait and see. Anu, hello Anu. Do you think a widespread confidence in an AMC squeeze is misplaced? No, I don't think it's misplaced. I just think it's only short 20% AMC. So I think what's misplaced is the notion that AMC is going to squeeze up to GameStop levels of around $400 a share. I don't think that is realistic based on the fact that there are 400 million shares of AMC on the open markets and only 20% short, whereas GameStop was 70 million shares outstanding and they were short 140%. So I don't think that there's misplaced confidence in a squeeze. I just think the price targets are what's misplaced. I don't think, you know, all these people saying AMC 100, AMC 1000. I doubt it. Although it could go up if there's buying too, right? Stocks don't only go up because there's a short squeeze. They go up because of market sentiment. People like it. Anu, hi. Peg City, what do you do from market close until 1 a.m.? Are you prepping a little for the next day? Yeah, hey, is that El Boberto watching Kenneth at his deliver pizzas? This is the life. What's up, man? What do I do from market close until 1 a.m.? Are you prepping a bit for the next day? Usually I'm doing a couple things. Market prep for the next day, making TikToks, because I have found in my personal experience as the TikTok journey continues that the majority of my TikToks that do very well and get a larger viewing are posted in the evening and afternoon. Afternoon videos, 1 o'clock, 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, 2 o'clock, don't really do as well. So I have my little drafts on my TikTok page answering all your questions, and then I usually spend about an hour or so making the videos, posting the videos, interacting with people, uploading them to YouTube, making YouTube videos. I hadn't made a YouTube video in a while, but I just posted a new one, so that took time because you have to film it. Then you film it and you realize that it fucking sucks, so you have to delete it, and then you have to redo it, and then you have to edit it, and then you have to put in the graphics, and then you have to come up with a description. That takes time. I like to cook, so I'll make dinner, or now that restaurants have opened up in DC and I have that sweet, sweet Microsoft vaccine, I can go out for dinner, so I've been going out for dinner more with friends. If you saw my sushi video from the other day, for example. So that's basically what I do. SAS 7085, what is your best and worst trade? Worst trade was Jones Soda. I've talked about this before, and there's actually a longer video on my YouTube channel somewhere if you want to find it. Jones Soda, basically what happened was I bought a lot at 16, I think about 1,000 shares, so about 16,000 investment. It tanked. I bought an unbelievable amount at like $2 or 80 cents or some number like that. I bought more at a lower price, and then when it shot up to around $3 or so, I sold, but I didn't know at the time, this was 12 years ago maybe, I didn't know at the time, because I was new, to edit my cost basis. So the way it works is something called first in, first out, or you can have something called last in, first out. Mine, the default was set to first in, first out. So when I sold my 1,000 shares, in my mind, I thought I was selling the 1,000 shares that I bought at $2 at $3 for a $1,000 profit. That was my plan. Bought them at $2, it hit $3, I sold 1,000 shares. What I didn't realize at the time was that it's something called first in, first out. So when I said sell 1,000 shares, in my head I'm thinking I'm selling the ones that I bought at $2. Nope. I sold the ones that I bought at 16. So I took probably a $14,000 or thereabouts loss accidentally because I didn't realize what I was doing. And it wasn't until maybe about a month later when I learned what the cost basis was. I think I called Ameritrade and I was like, how do I see what I've sold and what I've done? And they were like, oh, it's in your cost basis. And I was like, cool, thanks. And I hung up and I clicked on the cost basis, expecting to see that I had been up a couple thousand. And I was down 16 grand or 15 grand or whatever. And I got like that knot in my stomach where I thought something is very wrong here. And I got on the phone and I called Ameritrade back. And the thing I love about Ameritrade, unlike Robinhood, when you need to get on the phone with someone, they pick up. I don't know what's happening with my Snap game tonight, but it's not very good. When you get on the phone with Ameritrade, they literally pick up right away. Hi, Ameritrade, how can I help you? And I said, what's going on? And he said, oh, you didn't edit your cost basis. And I said, my what? And he said, your cost basis, you got to edit it. And he explained it to me, and I was like, oh my God. So my worst trade ever, 15 or so there, 1,000 loss, was a complete accident. Now, if you look at Jones Soda today, it still is under $1. So I still would have had on paper that $16,000 loss from all those years ago when I was an idiot and didn't know what I was doing. But had I done it correctly, I would have edited my cost basis to say sell the shares at $2, at $3. I would have taken my $1,000 profit. But unfortunately, 11 years later, I would still have that $16,000 loss because I never cut my loss back then. And then my worst trade. Let me let some new comments come in. SAS 7085. My best trade. Hey Teebs, Microsoft vaccine. My best trade ever. Now I'm getting cold, so I'm going to turn off my air conditioning. My best trade ever was Kodak. Oh, it's raining outside. My best trade ever was Kodak. And just like Kodak, El Boberto, you know this one, because you've been following me. El Boberto's been following me since probably the beginning, I think. Kodak I bought at $2 because of a oh, you knew it, yeah. Because of it was trading in a trading range between $2 and around $2.20. And I had noticed this. Now a lot of new traders think, oh, I missed my chance, damn it. But when you miss your chance, that's not the worst thing ever, because when you miss your chance, all it means is you get to put it on your radar and watch it and study it. You know, that first missed chance is an opportunity down the road. Oh, it was 2, now it's 220. Oh man, wait for it to get back down to 2, re-enter, start a position at 2. When it gets to 220, sell it. What Kodak was doing was it was bouncing in this trading range between 2 and 220, 2 and 220. And so after a while of watching it, I said, okay, next time it hits 2, I'm going in. So I bought Kodak at $2, and it went up to 220. I sold it. And then it went down, and I bought it. And it went up to 220, and I sold it. And then it dropped, and I bought. And you know, when I say $2, I think a lot of people who are new, they're very literal. I will buy it exactly at 2. I will sell it exactly at 220. That's not how the stock market works. If it gets to 205, if it gets to 203, it's getting close. If I think that the momentum or the trend of the stock is changing and heading higher, I'm not going to wait for it to get to 2 when it's at 203. We're talking on 1,000 shares, a difference of like $30. You know what I mean? I'm just going to buy it at 203. So I bought it at 203. I bought 1,000 shares. It dropped to like 199. I bought another 1,000. It dropped to like, I think 185. I bought another 1,000. So now I had 3,000 shares of the stock, and I was getting close to that point now where I start thinking about, should I be cutting my loss here and taking a couple $100 in losses, or should I Oh shit, let me respond to this one. Joshua 9410. If you buy at 16 and at 2, doesn't it just give you one average? Yes, in a way it does give you one average. It averages out the price, but then you can go in later and assign the shares that you want to sell. So you do have an average cost, which would probably be somewhere in the, if I bought it at 16 and then I bought at 2, what would my average be? $7 or something? I'm just guessing, don't quote me, I'm terrible at math. But you still have the two separate transactions. I still have the position at 1,000 at 2, and I still have the position 1,000 at 16. And I can go in and assign one or the other. If I sold the whole position, okay. So how many brokerages do I use? TD Ameritrade. And then I have a Coinbase account, a Kraken account, and a Crypto.com account for my crypto. So with Kodak, I had 3,000 shares at around $1.85 to $2.03 or whatever. I also had a little bit more from years earlier. Again, similar to the Jones Soda story. I don't buy warrants. Similar to the Jones Soda story, I bought 100 shares at like $11 for Kodak, and it tanked, and I never sold because I was kind of a new trader. Jeffrey, no, you rock. So I had 3,100 shares of Kodak, mostly at around $2, and then I had that 100 shares at 11 from years earlier when I should have sold but didn't know to do that. Hey, finger heart man, I don't know what that means, but I love it. No, I do not trade commodities either. I really just I've found my niche with stocks, and that's kind of what I stick to. I don't trade commodities. I don't trade futures. I don't short. I don't do options. The only thing that I've branched out into recently is crypto. So back to Kodak. It was a stock that was bouncing between $2 and $2.20. So I had my 3,000 shares at around $2, and randomly one day it shot up to $3, and I was stunned. I was like, this makes no sense. So I sold 1,000 shares at $3, and I was like to the moon, man. I was so happy because I bought, at $1,000 profit. I'm taking it, at least a little. But I was also part of me now. Now this is the other thing that comes with experience as a trader. I was also experienced enough to know something is up, right? Because this is a stock that goes from 2 to 220 or 2 to 230. It doesn't go from 2 to 3 in a day. Something is up. Something is up. And so I held the rest. The following, in pre-market, it got up to like 305. And I got that feeling, I got like a weird, like not knots in the stomach, but like a weird, like something is going on here. And I bought back in on the same day with Kodak. I bought in at 305, and I bought like 500 shares or 1,000. I think it was 500 shares. Because I thought something's happening here. This is an unbelievable surge in volume, and we're going to get some news the other day. So the very next day comes out, and the stock is even higher. Now I'm at that point, like what we're talking about with AMC, where I'm holding these shares. All right, I'm not in a position, luckily, where I have student loans, medical bills, debts, or anything like that. This money right now, yeah, it's a good amount. It's $2,000 or $3,000, but something's going on here. I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna wait. And so what ended up happening was around 10 in the morning, a tweet came out and then was immediately deleted. And the tweet was something like, at the close of market today, Kodak is going to announce some news, and it's going to be news that changes Kodak forever, changes the town in upstate New York where Kodak is located, and changes the face of the entire country. And I was like, whoa, what could this be from a camera company? Now, COVID had just kind of started, but I wasn't thinking anything of relating to COVID. And I was like, I spent the majority of the evening trying to what does that mean? What's Kodak? Are they expanding? Are they branching out from, because cameras and photography is kind of dying. Everyone takes pictures on their, what's going on here? Maybe it's that crypto news because they were going to come out with this cryptocurrency years ago. Maybe it was going to be some crypto news. So I'm at that point now where I'm like, I don't care. I'm holding. that evening, the news comes out, and it's that Donald Trump appointed Kodak. They gave Kodak the contract or whatever to come up with a vaccine for COVID. And I was like, that makes literally no sense. Until I talked to my uncle, and he was like, it's not just a camera company, but they make chemicals. They make chemicals. They have a lab, photos. And I was like, yeah, but photochemicals aren't the same as vaccine chemicals. And, I don't think they have a team of doctors studying viruses and stuff like that. It just made no sense to me. But it doesn't matter. Sometimes fundamentals or reality when it comes to a stock does not matter. And that's what we're seeing with, like what we saw with Dogecoin. This is like what we're seeing with AMC, with GameStop. Fundamentals don't matter. Technical analysis doesn't matter. All that drives these stocks are unbelievable amounts of hype. And Kodak went from 305 to 11. I woke up the following morning after the announcement that COVID was working on the vaccine. Now, Lawless and other people in here make fun of me when I say I wake up at 9:20 in the morning. I wake up at 9:20 in the morning every day. That's when I wake up. When I'm holding a stock that has some sort of news, like AMC the last few days, you best believe I'm waking up earlier. When I had Kodak, I absolutely woke up. I think I woke up at like 8 in the morning, 7 something in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I was too excited. I had to see what was up with Kodak. And when I rolled over and I opened my phone, Kodak was $11. So I sold pre-market a little bit. And when the markets opened, it was just off. It hit 20, I sold a little more. It hit 30, I sold a little more. And it kept getting halted. Now, something that an experienced trader knows is sooner or later, if you take a ball and you throw it into the air as hard as you can, it's going to pick up speed the second it leaves your hand. And it's going to fly, and then it's going to kind of slow down a little bit. Nothing goes up forever, and it's going to drop. So I know this, and with these halts can be very dangerous because you never know when that ball is going to drop. And so what ends up happening is it gets halted, and when the halt is lifted, it goes higher. And then it gets halted, and it goes higher when the halt is lifted. And every time it went a little higher, I sold a little bit more. So my loss for Jones Soda was around 16,000. My gain for Kodak was probably like 30 grand or something in a day. Best trade of my life. Fluke. Because I always say to new traders, have a plan and stick to your plan. My plan was, I'm going to buy it at 2, I'm going to sell it at 220. It hit 3. Any inexperienced trader would go, well, fuck this, I'm out. An experienced trader goes, okay, I have my plan, stick to my plan, but something's going on here. Let me step back for a minute and YOLO some of this. Let me read some comments here. Could you explain the TIF portion of buying a share on TD Ameritrade? I don't know what TIF is. Thank you for the finger hearts. El Roberto. Remember I made a sarcastic joke at that time. If it tripled one day, it'll do it again. Yes, I do. Jim Renaud. I do trade. I don't have a Roth IRA. I know there's a backdoor way to get one. I don't have a Roth IRA because as a self-employed stock trader, every dollar that I make is considered unearned income. It's just the way the IRS or SEC or whoever, it's just the way they do it. Earned income is when I go to Starbucks, I punch in and I work an 8-hour shift, or I go to an office, or I have a day job. That's earned income. Investment money or money from trading is classified as unearned income, so I don't qualify for a Roth IRA. I know there's a backdoor way. I know I could get a part-time job and get one. Oh, time in force. I don't know what time in force is because it's not something I've ever used. Good till canceled. Hey, Anu. Good till canceled just means you put in an order to buy a stock or sell a stock, and usually it's 6 months out, but you can set your own dates as well. Good till canceled being, I want to buy What's Apple at today? 120, 130? Let's say I want to buy stock in Apple, I want to pay 110, but I don't want to look at my stocks all day. I set a good till canceled order. I said, buy me Apple at 110, and then I set it and forget it. If it gets there in a 6-month period, it'll trigger, I'll get an alert, your order went through. If Apple never gets to 110, I never get the shares. Oh, Lawless, I know you weren't making fun of me. Anu, TD Ameritrade doesn't charge any trading fees. It's free to trade, which I think TD Ameritrade probably needs better marketing, because people go like, I always say, like, why do you use Robinhood? Like, it crashes all the time. There's no tech support. You can't reach anyone if you need to talk to anyone. Why do you use Robinhood? And they go, the trades are free. Trades are free everywhere. So they're free on Ameritrade. I don't pay a cent. You used to pay $9.99 to buy, $9.99 to sell. So $20 all said. So you got to think about it back then as a stock trader. If it costs you $20 to buy and sell, so 10 to buy, 10 to sell, if you're spending $20 on a trade and you're making $200 on that trade, you're really making $180. Then you have to subtract taxes and stuff like that. So for these people nowadays who are going, oh, I made $20 on my trade and I took my gains out, great. But 15 years ago, they would have been at break even. So Robinhood did change the game in that regard in terms of giving free trades. The only other upside to Robinhood, which, you know, I wouldn't even say is an upside because so many other brokerages offer fractional shares. You can, I want to write a note on this TIF thing because I want to do a video on it once I read about it to answer your question. And let me find who asked me that so I can, LGNYC. LGNYC. I'm going to do a video on this TIF thing. I'll find out what it means because I don't really use it. I'll do a video on it. Teebs, you ain't making that every day driving Lambos? No, I wish I was making $30,000 every day. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, it's funny, Lawless. A lot of people, when I said about that I wake up at 9:20 every morning, a lot of people were like, man, I wish I could do that. And you just have to find something that works for you, you know, and it's also a lot harder, I guess, if you have kids. I don't have kids. And we're getting back to that point now where I'm turning on my air conditioning again because it's hot in here. Yeah, there are fees for penny stocks, and I think there are fees for options as well for some options, but they're so small. It's like 60 cents or something like that. 12 a.m. Chef, yeah, E-Trade. Everyone basically offers free trades now. Completely Lawless. Do you plan to do this for the rest of your life? Do you have thoughts of doing something else? That's a longer question, so I'm going to answer it in a second. Josh606. Josh606, what are my favorite food places in D.C.? If you live in Washington, D.C., or if you're near Washington, D.C., I have a ton of favorite restaurants. Doi Moi on 14th Street is Vietnamese French street food. It's my new favorite. My favorite Chinese place in D.C. is Great Wall Szechuan House. They're really authentic Chinese. They also have the American stuff, but they have an authentic Chinese menu. It's mala, which is like a numbing spice. So your tongue goes numb, your lips go numb. Like you could like bite on your tongue really hard, you won't feel it. It just kind of tingles. Great Wall Szechuan House, Estadio for tapas. I think Ben's Chili Bowl is kind of an institution. You have to go there. Let's see. There's a huge Ethiopian food scene in DC. My favorite is a place called Salam. It's in a basement. It's dirty. The chairs are plastic. It doesn't look very clean. There's never any toilet paper or paper towels in the bathroom, but the food is insanely good. Those are the best restaurants, by the way. Lawless, do you plan on doing this? Oh, and also Rose's Luxury is on my list, and Compass Rose is on my list. There's a Thai place called Thai Crossing, which is some of the best Thai food I've ever had. Maybe I'll do like a whole video series of all my favorite restaurants here. Completely Lawless. Do you plan on doing this for the rest of your life? At the moment, yes. If you're new here, if you haven't followed me in the past, I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and I broke my back doing that when I was 18. So that was always a goal and a dream of mine, was to be a wrestler. And I see a lot of the people on TikTok who are big wrestling fans. WWE is approaching them. I don't know if you guys follow that Mr. Professor or Nick the Professor guy. He's the guy with the beard. He's bald, like me, and he does all those entrance music, videos on TikTok. People go like, "Do Vader's entrance," and he plays Vader's music, and he comes out and he does the whole thing. That dog face guy with the ocean spray, he got on WWE, called him and had him do something. Come on, guys, let's get me on WWE. I want to do something. If I could do anything, I would love to have one wrestling match, at the very least, just one, to say that I was able to do it. There's a guy who's a trainer at my gym. I've thought about approaching him. He used to be a wrestler on the indie circuit in Maryland. I thought about asking him if he would train me one-on-one just so I can have a match. I don't know if that's stupid or not, but it's been on the back of my mind. I've been thinking about it. Chris Brewer 7, I hope you're still in here. I own Bitcoin. I own Ethereum. I own Dogecoin. I own Cardano, and I own VeChain. Lawless, though, if I could do anything, I would love to flip a house. I think that would be something I'd be interested in. I used to say I wanted to own a restaurant. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. And I guess maybe fill in the shoes of Anthony Bourdain and do like a travel food show like he did. It would be a lot of fun. Peter Griffin, I'm worried that if Apple went down, I wouldn't be worried. Who has a terrible track record? Have I ever gone skydiving? Absolutely not. Bucon 90, I am in Washington, D.C. 12 a.m. Chef, do you buy and sell with limits or place market orders? No, because I'm a full-time trader, so I sit at my screen all day. Like I said a few minutes ago, if I worked a full-time job and swing trading was kind of like a part-time side hustle hobby, I would absolutely set limits or market orders or... market orders? Yeah, sometimes I buy market orders. A market order just means you pay what the stock is going for at the moment. A limit order means you set a price. Sorry, misunderstood your question. Limit orders or market orders. Usually I set market orders. I just get in, buy the stock at whatever it's trading at, unless it's really extremely volatile. If it's extremely volatile, I don't want to say, yeah, I'll pay whatever it's going for. Like if you were watching AMC today, it was $25.50, $26.72, boom, boom. I mean, it was jumping all over the place. I do not want to place a market order on something like that. If I want to buy it at $25.50, I want to buy it at $25.50. I don't want to buy it at $27.32 because it's a difference of a few $100. So I will set limit orders when it's a stock like AMC that is just flying. Anu, how you know about Founding Farmers? Yeah, Founding Farmers is good. Hey, Tim Remo. Hey, wait, Tim Remo, aren't you here? Aren't you in D.C.? Boston Quarter, that's in Virginia. No, I haven't been to Boston Quarter because I don't go to Virginia very often. Tim Remo, where are you? Where are you staying in D.C.? Quarantine Creations 2020, AMC, hold, sell, buy. I've been talking about AMC all night. I will upload this live to YouTube. So if you want to go and watch the whole thing and see what I've had to say about AMC earlier, by all means. It depends on your risk tolerance. If you haven't bought AMC stock yet, and you think it has the potential to go higher, you think there could be a squeeze next week up to 30 or 50, then of course you would want to buy. If you think that it's run its course and it's going to go lower, then you would not want to buy, and you would maybe consider selling if you thought it could drop back down to 12. I am personally holding. I'm not buying anymore. I'm holding. I've sold all the AMC that I'm going to sell. I've taken all the profits that I'm going to take, and I'm holding the rest. If it goes to 50, I'll sell a little. If it goes a little higher, I'll sell a little bit more. I'm probably always going to keep 100 shares just for funsies, and see what happens. I'm missing some fight about... Convival. Yeah, Convival's on my list as well. Lawless, do you come to DC a lot? And Anu, do you come to DC a lot? Peter Griffin, my thoughts on Apple is it's a long-term hold for me. Any big sell-offs, I'm buying. I hope that they do this $90 billion share buyback because, frankly, they have too many shares on the market. Apple has split so many times that they keep adding more shares to the market, so they have 16 billion now. That number needs to come way down, and the only way to do that is by doing buybacks. A lot of people think, why do a buyback? Why not do a special dividend or whatever? They fight about, if a company has $90 billion, should they just buy back their own shares, or should they do a special dividend, or invest that money to keep growing, building the company? I think in the case of Apple, a buyback is a good idea because it'll lower the amount of shares outstanding. Yes, I am staking my Cardano. Yes, I also think it's a good idea to stake your crypto. However, not Ethereum unless you don't mind holding it for a little longer, because Ethereum, when you stake it, you can't unstake it. You're locked in until Ethereum 2.0 comes out, which could be a year, it could be longer, it could be never, so you might never get those staked coins back, although I would imagine you probably will at some point. But in the world of crypto, I'm not really the one to ask. I would send you to Crypto Wendio. What is the safest play for an inflation or recession in your opinion? Gold. Gold is great. If you have the money for an income property, people are always going to need a place to live. Income property, I would say probably not an Airbnb. If there is a inflation event or a recession, people are probably not going to be going to fancy Airbnbs, but they will need a home. So an income property, gold, silver. There's a guy here, his username is Pirate, but it's not Pirate, it's P1. If you go into my list of followers, you'll see him in there. It's P1R4 something something. He's the gold guy on here. Actually, can I just tag him in the comments? Wait, how do I do a comment? Is this it? What's enhance? I don't want to enhance. Huh. Why can't I write a comment? I don't know. I have gold back in 2013 and I'm still waiting for it? What do you mean? You have a gold back? Anu, sadly not anymore. Why not? Come visit me. Lawless, my sister used to live in Arlington. We had a plane? You had a plane? Staking is great for the interest rates. Yeah. Wait, Anu, you lived in DC for a summer? And you like Cafe Bonaparte. That's great too. Quarantine Creations, you're welcome. Bukon90, have you ever gone skydiving? No, I'm afraid. Crypto is starting to be manipulated as well. Yeah, Danny, I agree. It's funny because crypto was started as a thing for the little guy, and now it has become kind of taken over and manipulated by whales and hedge funds and the billionaires. That's how it goes. I lost your comment. What do you think about Palantir? I think it has potential long term. People are worried about the spying and then the data that they have access to. You know, that could be a concern, especially if they regulate like social media companies and stuff. But I think they're too important. Lawless. Wait, let me read. We're talking about food here. Lawless will pick me up in NYC and then fly us to DC. Yeah, come visit. They made a foie gras Peeps style out of hardened cider with foie gras inside. That sounds good. We sat at a chef's table at Minibar. Cool. Whoa, 35 courses. 17 wines, went with a CIA station chief and an A-10 pilot. Awesome. I live in Hoboken. You live in Hoboken? I didn't know that. Be at Teterboro tomorrow at noon. We'll go to lunch with Superfly Suna. I like that. Let's go. Except really, if I were to do it, I would come up to New York. I'm actually going to come up to New York. I don't know if I'm going to come up this summer, but I'm going to be there soon. Tidy Jeans, do you live in DC? Because my favorite burger place in DC is Steak and Egg in Tenleytown. Steak and Egg has a double bacon cheeseburger that is the best anywhere. It's my favorite burger in DC. Outside of that, Shake Shack is amazing. Trump gets pegged. Yikes. That's a visual I did not want. But wait, what was your question? Because I lost it. Oh, time. I have no thoughts on time, but I should do a video on it because so many people have asked me about it. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. Quarantine Creation. Let's do a luncheon meetup in New York City. Quarantine Creation. Are you in New York City too? And where are you in New York City? Because Anu is in New York. LGNYC is in New York. Completely Lawless lives in Hoboken, which is close enough. Blue Green. The cicadas in DC are unbelievable right now. They are so loud all day. It's like a nonstop, like kind of like you just hear it in the air. They are everywhere. African Buddy Scratcher. What scanner do you use? I have videos on my YouTube channel under my click here if you're new to trading playlist. It's the very first playlist. I think it's within the first 10, step 1, step 2. How to use stock scanners. I use scanners for a variety of different things, looking at stuff like price. So if I'm going to be looking for a day or a swing trade, I usually look for something under $5 or even in the 20s, but that's having very unusually high volume. I'll use a scanner to find stocks that are oversold on the relative strength index, looking for something that might potentially bounce. Or I use screeners looking for something that's having volume to the upside, that's having a breakout of the Bollinger Bands. You can even set it to say, show me stocks that are breaking over the middle band, which is the 20-day moving average. In the Bollinger Bands, you have resistance, 20-day, and then at the very bottom, you have the support. So you can set a scanner to say, show me anything that's crossing over the 20-day in the middle, indicating that there might be more upside coming and it might break out. So you can set scanners to do that. Quarantine Creations, Long Island City. LGNYC, do you ever use Finviz to look at setups? Yes, I do use Finviz. Who was the guy who asked me about the screeners? African Buddy Scratcher. I personally think that the screeners on Finviz are better than the screeners on TD Ameritrade. Sierra 2 cents, if you follow Sierra 2 cents, has a lot of screener videos on how to use on Finviz. I will duet one of her videos, and I'm going to tag you in it. So I got to write down your username. So give me a second. African Buddy Scratcher. Sierra scanner video. I will duet her scanner video that she uses for Finviz. And and LGNYC, I will tag you in that video too. LGNYC, I'm also going to tag you in the Sierra video. I'll put it up probably tomorrow. If I were to come to New York, though, since we're talking about food, and Anu has probably heard this 100,000 times from me, he's probably getting tired of me talking about it. Thursday Kitchen is my favorite restaurant in New York City. And then Soft Swerve, they have this ube ice cream. Ube is like I don't know where it comes from, if it's Africa or South America. It's like a purple sweet potato. They have this purple sweet potato soft serve ice cream. It's purple because I said purple. It is amazing. I would go there and wait online for an hour to get that soft serve. And there's also Shanghai something in Chinatown on Canal Street. Unbelievable Chinese food. I'd go there. African Buddy Scratcher, don't worry. I'll tag you when the video's up. For the screener video. Completely Lawless. Yes, Cactus Cantina is still there, and I go. It's 1 block from my house. Cactus Cantina is 1 block or 2 blocks that way, and I go there frequently. And I'm actually kind of upset because my Cactus Cantina buddy, we would go to Cactus like twice a month, moved to San Diego yesterday. Now who am I going to go with? Who's going to go to Cactus with me? Ube is Filipino ice cream. Oh, Filipino, that makes sense. Because the person who told me about Soft Swerve is from the Philippines. Teebs, if there's food involved, I'm in, I'll pick you up. Teebs, you're in West Virginia, so come to DC, meet me, we'll drive to New York from there, and we'll have a big New York City TikTok meetup. And we'll eat everything. Ube is a Filipino ice cream, yeah. That makes sense. And it's really good. I actually thought about branching out from my TikTok, still obviously talking about stocks and stuff, but branching out and doing like I'm gonna hit the road kind of thing, because I have followers. You guys are all over the country. I mean, I know we're focused on New York City right now, but there are people in Oregon and St. Louis who was messaging me the other day telling me about the ribs and barbecue. I was really kind of thinking about hitting the road, doing a little road trip. I know the Money Badger lives in. I know the Money Badger lives in Tennessee. They have good food in Tennessee too. What are we talking about? Cicadas, yes, they're brutal. If Kenny comes to New York City, we can all get together. I would love that. Tidy Jeans, you live in SoCal. In-N-Out all day. I've never been to an In-N-Out, but I'm coming to LA in 2022. So I will let everyone know when I'm there. McGillibuddy, St. Louis, is that where you live too? Because someone told me just yesterday about a place called Salt and Smoke and Pappy's Smokehouse. St. Louis, McGillibuddy, if you live in St. Louis and you can tell me about these places, Salt and Smoke, I think, was the first one, and the other one was called Pappy's. Pappy's has like 4,000 Yelp reviews, like five star, and there's a line out the door all the time. All right, Salt and Smoke is the best. So this other person from TikTok who was also telling me about the St. Louis barbecue says that Pappy's is the best. So I looked at Yelp and I looked at the pictures. Whoa! I looked at the photos from Salt and Smoke, and then I looked at the photos from Pappy's, and I thought the photos from Salt and Smoke looked way better. You have to go to Pappy's early because they run out of food. But you think Salt and Smoke is better. Now I'm going to turn off my air conditioning again. I would like to eat all of that barbecue. So let me know if you think I should do a little road trip. TikTok, hit the road and drive all over this place and get food. I think my my phone is falling over. Salt and Smoke has multiple locations now. All right. I don't know if Teebs, if you're still in here, we're doing a little TikTok road trip. Test 764 AMC to 100. I would say it's unlikely. You've missed. Better at the gym all over too. Yes. Teebs, let's roll. Let's do it. Let's go. Road trip. I'm ready. Test. Do I see AMC going to 100? So here's the thing. I've talked about this 100 times already. I'm going to upload this live to my YouTube channel probably tomorrow. So you can go and watch because I've answered this question already. AMC has more shares on the market and a much smaller short interest of about 20% than GameStop had. GameStop had 400 million shares and 140% short interest, which explains why it was able to have the run that it did. AMC, more shares than GameStop, less short interest, harder to squeeze to a level that GameStop got to. Could AMC get to 100 if there is a huge short squeeze? Potentially. Potentially. It could potentially get to 100. At the rate that it is now at 20% short, it might not get to 100 if the short interest is released twice a month. As it stands right now, it's 20% short. If AMC's short interest goes up 40 or 60%, or goes up to 40 or 60%, and there's this surge of, Super White Satan, what's up, man? If there is a surge of retail investors and retail traders getting in, and there's a huge amount of short interest on AMC, it could absolutely get to 100. Will it? At this level, when it's short only 20% and it has 400 million shares, I don't see that happening. Let's say it gets to 50 and that's as high as it gets and then it drops. Boy, are you going to be kicking yourself for not selling at 50. On the other hand, what if you sell everything at 50 and it does go to 100 or 200 or 300? Then you're going to be kicking yourself again, which is why it's important that you never sell your entire position, because you don't know. It could. So if you have 100 shares and it hits 50, lock in some of your gains. Maybe sell 25 shares, maybe sell 50. That's your call. And it goes to 100, you can unload a little bit more. Personally, I have sold all of the AMC that I'm going to sell. Everything that I have now, I'm holding. Super White Satan, wearing my Stock Satan t-shirt and waiting to get rich. Hell yeah. You're wearing Stock Satan, I'm wearing the Stock God. It's like Alpha and Omega. I don't think that's actually what Alpha and Omega means, but it sounds cool. Test. I appreciate the response and detail you went into. Love your content. Holding for what? At this point, it's a YOLO trade. We're just gonna see where it goes. I've made all the money that I'm gonna make right now from selling AMC. I've taken out the majority of my shares. I had thousands. I've sold the majority of them. Right now, what I'm holding is my moon bag, as Wendy-O calls it. It's my YOLO trade. If it gets to 50, I'll take a little, and then I'm going to hold the rest. If it gets to 100, maybe I'll take out a little bit more. If it gets to 200, and stuff like that, I don't think it will get to 200 or 300, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. Hey, Walhart. Oh, hey, Walhart. For the people who've been in this live since the beginning, when I said I just got a message from someone, I read your message out loud about the Fibonacci and how you were testing them all day. I read your message out loud when I got it. That's who I was talking about. I know buying when oversold isn't good, but what about with huge volume? Okay, so this is a good question. When a stock is you potentially want to buy when it's oversold because it indicates that there could be a turnaround. What I read and the way I read the question before I reread it was overbought. When a stock is overbought at the top of the relative strength index and it indicates that a reversal might be coming, but there's a humongous amount of volume, relative strength can get pushed to the side. You don't want to get rid of it. You don't want to say it has no merit anymore, but it's kind of secondary now. If the stock is overbought and the volume is very low, that's a sign that it could be reversing and you want to lock in your gains. However, if it's overbought, which is a sign to sell, but there's huge buying pressure, a stock can remain overbought for an extended period of time. It could be hours or it could even be days that it stays in that overbought territory if there is still hype and volume and buying coming in. So it depends on what's going on. Like you said, if it's overbought and weak volume, you consider selling. If it's overbought and very strong volume, lots of buying, you consider maybe holding out a little bit longer. Test. The thing is, when it comes to selling a little bit on the way up, it really depends on your strategy and what you are in the stock for. If you have medical bills or debts or student loans or credit card debt with very high interest, and you are up $3,000 or $4,000 on AMC or $1,000, and whatever you've made in AMC can make a huge dent in your debt, I think you'd be silly to not take some of that bonus money and pay down your debts or your bills or your mortgage or whatever. On the other hand, if you don't have student loans or debts or medical bills or back rent because of COVID or whatever your situation is, and you don't mind rolling the dice and seeing where it goes, it's totally, what I'm saying is it comes down to, it's your call. It's totally your call. But what you should consider is, if you have high interest debts, student loans, medical bills, or if you really need the money, if you really are hard up for cash and you really need it, you should consider taking a little bit and then letting the rest ride. Super White Satan, you are a kind and truthful human. That sounds like a fortune cookie, but I like it. Thank you. Rare find. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that I'm so fucking nice. No, it's unfortunate that there's a lot of shady, schemy fuckers on this app, is what it is. I don't know if you guys have been watching Pablo. Pablo Heeman has been live basically all day with all these different content creators. And some of the content creators that he's gone live with are pretty sleazy, scammy kind of guys. And that makes me... Quarantine Creations 2020, can you check the short interest on CVM? I can't, because my computer's in my bedroom and my phone is doing this. But you can check it a few different ways. One, on Yahoo Finance, under the homepage of the stock where it says like high and low of the year, dividend, institutional ownership. It will say short interest somewhere on the description, so you can find it very easily. Finviz probably has it. It's always going to be on the stock's bio homepage where it gives you all the breakdowns, highs, lows, dividends, P/E ratio, stuff like that. Another website you can check is highshortinterest.com. They claim to have more accurate, more up-to-date short interest than, say, TD Ameritrade or the others. So you can also check there. It might not be there because high short interest is only showing you the stocks that have extremely high short interest. So they don't show you every stock. But you can definitely check it. It's readily available pretty much anywhere. Walhart, Rachel, overbought. Yeah, okay, that's kind of what I thought you meant. And that's why I answered it that way. I think, oops, I lost some questions. Hold on. I'm silly not selling until 350 or 375. I want 250. Yeah. The thing is, at a certain point, that profit is going to become too sweet. Whether AMC hits 100 or 70 or 80, you're going to be sitting on, maybe 40, 50,000 in profit. If that isn't life-changing to you, if you lost all of your profits and you thought, oh well, then yeah, hold it. If it gets to, but if your target is 350, 375 because GameStop did that, like we've talked about a lot on this live, GameStop has fewer shares available with a higher short interest, which means it could really squeeze. AMC has more shares with a smaller short interest, which means even if it squeezes, it'll most likely never get to where GameStop got to. It doesn't mean that AMC can't squeeze to 50 or maybe even 100. Factoring in also enthusiasm from retail traders and hedge funds and investors who will also pour into the stock because they want to push it higher and higher and higher. The question always comes back to, if I knocked on your door and I had 80 grand and your target was 250,000 in profit, and I knocked on your door and I said, I've got 80,000 right here, would you take it? If you would take it, then when you see it in person, then you should consider taking some, and you can YOLO the rest. So if you can lose the money, if you can take a chance, maybe you make 250 on this. But then, if you make 250 and you sell AMC and you make $250,000, you're buying me dinner. I'm gonna go to full-time trader on my 51st birthday. You're 49 now and you are my inspiration? Dude, thank you. My birthday was on Friday last week. When is your birthday? Azzyboy3, I'm late. Can you give me a quick recap of what you think is going on? I don't know how much you heard of what I just talked about, so I'll let you comment below. If you missed it, I'll repeat it. Zank1, Pablo is crypto, Ken is the stock god. That's cool. I would love to go live with Pablo, but I'm a little intimidated because that guy is fucking smart as shit. Have you watched his lives? That guy is smart. I don't know who he is, and I don't know where he lives in the world, but he has been live all day today. I mean, he was live at like 3 o'clock this afternoon. I think he might still be live. He is smart, and he has had some people on in the stock world as guests over the last few days who look like idiots compared to Pablo. And the people, it's hysterical and also kind of scary. The people on, what's this? The people on Pablo's side are just trash talking who's ever his guest is. This guy's an idiot, boot him, get him off, kick him off the live, kick him, boot him. This guy doesn't know anything. And when you switch over to the other person's live, there's like 8 people on their live, and they're like, this is great. But Pablo's fan base is ruthless. Let me catch up here because I said there was a bunch of questions and I missed them. Here we go. Zank1, AMC at 50 to 75 is as high as I think it'll go. Yeah, I think that's probably more realistic. And that's why I said if it hits 50, I'm selling half. And then I'm just going to YOLO the rest, and we'll see. He has a lot of people stitching his vids and talking trash. And there was a comment from Test I want to read. Michael the Magician, when do you think AMC will hit 50 to 75? It could be as early as next week if it hits it at all. Completely lawless, do you share your age? I'm 36 as of last Friday. Super White Satan, I need to post videos. I'm dumb but smart. That's how I feel, dumb but smart. Test. You wouldn't believe me. Of course I believe you. But I invested $3,000 in a penny stock, and I could have made $50,000 off of it, and didn't sell, but I still made $15,000. So a couple of things. One, I say this all the time, you learn more from your losses than you do from your gains. And even though you still had a gain on this one, it still is a little bit of a loss, right? Because you were up 50,000 and then you ended up taking at the end when it's probably, I'm assuming, sold off, and you took your gains at 15. You're still up huge. You put in 3, you made 15. That still is an awful lot of money. And what you potentially could have learned from this trade is, technical analysis might have been able to tell you, hey, this stock is reversing now. You're up to 50 grand. Maybe you should lock in your gains, depending. I don't know what stock it was. Let me read some of these comments. Anu, do you automatically put around 40% aside after trades for taxes? Yes, I do. I put in, usually not 40%, but like around in the 30s. I put in more than I'm going to expect to owe because I don't want to be caught with a surprise if I have an unusually good year and then I owe more than I thought. Although I usually have enough in savings that I can cover it. But I would rather put in more, set aside more, and then find out that I owe a little less, and then at the end of the year, I got some bonus money, than if I, like underestimated how much I was going to make, and then I ended up owing a little more. I held it for a year. This is test. I held it for a year as well when it was nothing, basically. In February, in the OTC market, it went crazy. Sushi Cash. Let me read some more of these questions. Bucon90, what do you think about Pablo's prediction of Bitcoin going down? I agree. I think it'll have more selling. These options expirations. Bitcoin's actually been dropping this evening as I was watching. It was 35. It was 34. The other thing is, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, you'll notice that the volume is slowing down. And the candlesticks are smaller now, which indicates less price movement, which means it could be kind of like fizzling out of this rally. When you're seeing smaller and smaller candlesticks, smaller and smaller volume, could be an indication that a bear market is now coming, that there might be more selling because there's less momentum and less enthusiasm to the upside. It's not dropping, or it is dropping, but it's kind of slow and steady. People are kind of sitting back and waiting. I think we could see a bigger sell-off. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to drop to 20. But it could get low, and that's why, again, you got to set your alerts at different price points all the way down. Jabari Taylor, happy belated birthday. Thank you. BJ Sheedy, your opinion about Bitcoin. My opinion about Bitcoin is I have been dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. Well, I shouldn't say that. I bought my initial investment in Bitcoin when it was 19,000. I didn't buy a full one, although I should have. I bought at 19,000, shoots up to 60, and then it tanked. And, I'm not the crypto guy. So I go to people who I trust, like Pablo, like Wendio, like Blockchain Boy, like Brian Ross. I think if you want to click on the people I follow, he's in there. And I listen to what they have to say. And if they say they think it's going a little lower and they can give me reasons and explain why, and I can learn from it, I'm not going to buy too much right now. I'm going to wait. If the belief is that this thing is going to drop to 20, might not get to 20, might not even get to, 28, I'm going to start scaling in very slowly, because I imagine once it starts getting down to under 30 grand, these whales are going to come in. These big hedge funds are going to come in. And when they come in, it's going to squeeze. It's going to rally. I shouldn't say squeeze, because then people will get confused with the short squeeze. It'll just rally. Penny stocks are gambling. I've been sitting on SL for 5 years, and it might be finally ready to pop. Shit. 5 years is a long time. Let me read some of these comments here. There was one that I missed from Teebs. I need to find my Kodak trade to pay off my student loans. We got Anu. Blockchain Boy is the truth. He's great. What are your thoughts on the new Bronco? Zanquan, new Bronco. I have a 1985 Ford Bronco, for those who don't know. I made a reservation to get the new one. It's a $100 down payment. I made my $100 down payment, which was refundable. Ford called me in March, and they said, do you still want to hold your reservation? I said, yes. They said, okay, then you owe us $2,500 now. And I said, I'm confused. I thought it was $100. They said $100 was to make the reservation. $2,500 now is to hold it. And I said, well, is the $2,500 refundable? Nope. And I said, so what is this $2,500? They said, it's your down payment. And I said, but I don't want to buy this Bronco without seeing it in person and test driving it first. And they were like, all right, then you're going to break your reservation. So I broke my reservation. Now what I've been thinking about doing is, instead of running out and buying a new Bronco, which I hate buying new cars, is if I already got a 1985 Ford Bronco and it's cool as shit, I thought instead of spending 30 or 40 grand on a new car, why not put another couple grand into my old Bronco to get it to the condition where it needs to be, just a little bit more comfortable. There's no air conditioning. The side windows don't work. I don't think the back windows work. There's no radio. It's got a carburetor. So if you don't know what that is, if you think about those old school horror movies where they're being chased by like a chainsaw guy and they get into the car and they pump the gas a couple times and they start the engine, that's a carburetor. We have fuel injection now. I just get in, I turn the key or I push a button and a computer sends gas to the engine. In the old cars, you had to manually pump the gas into the engine with the carburetor. If you pump too many times, you flood the engine, then the car won't start. You got to wait 20 minutes for everything to kind of go back. So I have a carburetor on my Bronco. It's not the worst thing in the world. In the summer, Bronco fires right up. It's 1985, so it's the same age as me. It's a 36-year-old truck, probably 37, because, you know, the cars came out with the next year. So the 85 came out in 84. It starts right up. It fires right up when I get in. Downside is in the winter when it's really, really cold. Pump, pump, pump. You got to crank that thing forever. Big pain in the ass. Let me read some of these comments now. Rachel, what do you use to keep up with taxes on crypto? I have no idea because I don't know how crypto is being taxed yet. And I don't think the government knows either. Some cryptos are taxed, some at like the capital gains rate, some aren't. It's very, I don't know. I'm not an accountant anyway, so I'm not the one to ask. Jetski 2191, should I invest in NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? Which one was Justin Timberlake in? NSYNC, right? He was in NSYNC. That's who I would go with. Because I don't know who any of the Backstreet Boys are. I don't remember any of their names. So why would I invest in them? Can't even name any of them. Michael the Magician, thoughts on Ethereum? I like it. If it gets to under 2,000, I'm going to start scaling in with a end goal of around 1,700 as my target price. If there's a huge crypto sell-off, if there's a crypto winter or a big sell-off because of everything that's been going on with these options that are expiring and blah blah blah. If Ethereum gets hammered, I am loading up at 1,700 if it gets to that level. As I've been talking about all night, I never go all in at a certain price. Oh, it's 2,000, I'm buying everything. I'm going to scale in slowly. So if I was to plan on buying like, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 worth of Ethereum, so 2 coins maybe, I would buy in like increments of say, $500 at lower price points. DJ sold half my position at AMC at 34. Nice. So you sold at 34 and now it is 25. Pretty good. Super White Satan, Igor? Who's Igor? Should be a wrestling manager? People like to hear you talk. Who's Igor? Is that me? I don't want to be Igor. I'm out. But I swear you are the reason I know I can do this. Super White Satan, you will do it. And you said you're 49, you're going to quit and be full-time trader when you're 51. I bet you'll be doing it sooner. Because people learn a lot faster these days because of all the resources that there are. When I learned in 2011, I didn't have TikTok, I didn't have Instagram, I didn't have YouTube, I didn't have Investopedia. I mean, maybe it existed, but not the way I know it. Buchan, if the police are ever chasing you in the Bronco, please pull over. I will. That Bronco doesn't go very fast. My Bronco's max speed is 85 miles an hour. And I pushed it once to 85 and I thought I was going to die. Big mistake. Shouldn't have done that. But I just wanted to see. It was brand new to me. I got the Bronco. I took it to my mechanic. I said, fix it up, the basics. Just so I can drive it and have some fun with it, and then we'll really work on it. He did like some basic things. I got in. I took it to a part of DC where the roads are just, pretty straight, and I just gunned it. That was probably a really stupid idea in retrospect because the Bronco's old, and I think one pothole would have sent that thing flipping through the air. So don't worry, is my point. People like to hear you talk. That's Super White Satan, who I think went to bed. I'd be a wrestling manager because I can cut promos. Promos are easy. I would love to cut some promos. I don't know how many wrestling fans are in the house at this point, but I could be a Paul Heyman. I would love to be a Paul Heyman for some wrestler who's a really good wrestler but can't talk. That would be a lot of fun. Ellie2333, what are your main indicators when swing trading? My main indicators for swing trading are Bollinger Bands, good old-fashioned volume, relative strength index, and last but not least, last and least, actually, is my least favorite, is MACD. I also love Fibonacci retracements. If Rachel is still in here, she watches all my YouTube videos and just has been watching my Fibonacci retracement video from YouTube that I put up the other day. So Ellie, if you haven't seen that Fibonacci video, go on my YouTube channel, link is in my bio, and watch it. That's my other indicator that I really like. Completely Lawless, I don't get wrestling. What interests you about it? Can you relate it to something else? Yes. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people get like they feel like some Magpie. Hi. We're moving off of stocks for a second to talk about wrestling, and then I'll get back to stocks. The thing about pro wrestling is a couple things. One, it's just like soap opera or theater. You have your good guy, you have your bad guy. If the story is really good, it hooks you in. You forget that it's scripted, that the outcome is predetermined. You got to look at pro wrestling the same way you would look at Rambo or 24 or any of these, Jason Statham movies. You know it's scripted. You know there's a script. You know the outcome of the movie. You know the outcome of every movie you're going to see. Good guy wins. They're at the ambulance. The hero is all bloody. He turns to his wife or partner or girlfriend or whoever and kisses her, and it ends with the credits. It's every Die Hard movie ever. But if the story is good, it hooks you in, you like it, you forget about it, and you are able to be distracted for a few hours from your inevitably shitty life because everyone is so miserable. So you can put on wrestling or whatever, and if it's good, you get suckered in. The problem with the current state of professional wrestling today is it's not very good. Storylines are terrible. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about the characters. If you go back in time a couple of years, 10, 15, 20 years ago with Stone Cold The Rock and all that stuff, it was entertaining. It pulled you in. It was exciting. It was edge of your seat. Lots of attitude. People go like, why do you watch wrestling? It's fake. It's scripted. Everything is fake and scripted. So that's what I like about wrestling. It's incredibly... these guys have to be incredibly athletic to be able to pull this stuff off, which I think a lot of people dismiss. It's brutally demanding on the body. They're on 300 plus days a year. So from a respect standpoint, where NFL is off half the year, basketball is off half the year, wrestlers go all year long. It's very demanding. So that's what I like about it. But it has to be good, and it's currently not. They do punish their bodies, yeah. It's brutal. It's brutal. A lot of wrestlers work with unbelievable injuries all year long. I mean, unbelievable injuries. Like, there's a story from ECW in Philly in the 90s where I think it was Tommy Dreamer got suplexed into a table and was in so much pain that he went to the hospital. And when he walks into the hospital, they scan him and they go, "How did you get here?" And he goes, "I walked." And they were like, "Not possible because you have a broken neck." And he was like, "I walked." Like, I mean, the stuff that they do is unbelievable. Bukan, these nuts, I don't get it. Hand motion? I don't get it. Rachel, I love Fibonacci. I was shocked at how accurate it was. So here's the thing about this Fibonacci, that everyone says technical analysis is bullshit. But if you plot it out, you're going to be surprised by how often it's very accurate. Even if the stock, if you watch a stock that hits a high of, say, 20, and then drops to 15, it is exactly at that level based on these Fibonacci retracements, which are just a percentage of these numbers that he's noticed. This mathematician, who, by the way, I didn't think I had to explain this, but in the TikTok video that I did last week, where I was talking about these Fibonacci retracements, it's a mathematician named Leonardo Fibonacci, and that's not even his real name. His real name was like something else. But from the 12th century mathematician who noticed that these percentages, these numbers were appearing in nature over and over and over on everything, flowers, pregnant women, you name it. These same numbers were over and over that he was noticing percentages. And I thought it would be hilarious in my video if I said that his name was Jeff Fibonacci, because how many 12th century Italian mathematicians are named Jeff, right? I mean, it was an obvious joke, but I think it went over I think so many people didn't get it because the comments were like, Jeff, don't listen to this idiot. I thought it was funny. I even said not his real name in the graphics up here, to which people were like, you just edited that in later. But you can't edit in text. I mean, anyway, I got like way too upset. He wasn't trading stocks, but he noticed it he noticed it in nature and in math. Maybe I'll do some more videos on it because I don't really understand when he first noticed, like petals in a flower and stuff like that. Like he noticed that these same numbers were repeating over and over. And so some stock trader ages ago, probably in the 70s or whatever, when they were really learning about technical analysis, plotted out these Fibonacci lines on a stock chart. And they held up. So when the stock drops from 20 to 15, it would be at the exact 61.8 level of this Fibonacci retracement. Like the movie Pi, I don't know, I didn't see that. The golden ratio, or the golden angle, maybe you mean the golden ratio, is 50%, which isn't a Fibonacci. It's not in the Fibonacci sequence. So it's called the Fibonacci sequence. 50% isn't one of the numbers that are in there, but traders have put it in there, and over time it kind of, I guess, just stuck. So the Fibonacci retracements that you want to look at as a trader are 100%, 61.8, 38.2, 23 point something. The numbers might not be accurate because I can't remember all the retracements. Noticed it on flower petals. See, you laughed at Jeff, but that's probably maybe because you know my sense of humor and you got it. I thought it was a funny joke. Most people didn't. It's much better than me on plotting support. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to set the support and resistance. Lawless, going back to wrestling. Did you ever see the Andre the Giant documentary on HBO? Yes, it was fascinating. Actually, A&E has just released a series of documentaries. I'm 50-50 on some of them. They're really, really well done, but they kind of whitewashed a little of the history with some of these guys, and they also kind of smeared Randy Savage in the end, which I didn't like because he's dead, and you can't, there was no one really to stick up for his side of the story. But the Booker T one was fascinating. The Roddy Piper one was fascinating. The Stone Cold one was incredible. I watched the Ultimate Warrior one yesterday, which I kind of liked, but I also felt like maybe they kind of whitewashed away some of his like really, really, really homophobic, far-right, conservative kind of stuff. They kind of just tried to explain it away very quickly. So I don't know how I felt about that, but otherwise it was very interesting. Ellie2333, how did you hurt your back? When I wanted to be a wrestler, it was the very first day of class, which is the worst part of the story. It was the very first day of class. There were about 15 people in the class, and one of the things that we were doing was we were getting thrown over the top rope. From the top rope to the floor, I mean, if we're looking at a boxing ring, this is boxing, but if you're looking at it from the top rope all the way to the floor below the ring, it's about 8 feet. So what we were doing is the coach was taking us, and he was running us and throwing us over the top rope. And the way you do it is, as he like throws you, you jump, and right under your belly button, like right above your belly button or your waist or whatever, is where you land on the top rope. One hand grips the rope like underhand, and then the other, you fall forward and you land on like the apron on the outside of the, let me do it like this, on the outside of the ring, you land on the apron, and then you're basically upside down where your head is looking to the floor and your legs are up above you, and you've got one hand on the rope, one hand on the apron, and you just flip and land on your feet on the outside, like gymnasts do. When you say like, wow, he really stuck the landing, that's how we were supposed to get thrown over the top rope. So the coach would grab the first guy and throw him, and he would bounce on the top rope, and he would fall back into the ring, and the second guy, he would bounce, and he would kind of like straddle the rope and fall over and land. No one could do it. It's my turn, probably 8th in line out of 15. Coach grabs me, runs me, and I land perfectly. First day of class, I'm not athletic at all, and I stick the landing. I land on my feet like a freaking gymnast with my arms out to the side. I turn around, and he was like, wow, get back in or do it again. So he gets me, he does it, throws me over the top rope a second time. Again, stick the landing, perfect, 10 out of 10. I turn around, and he's like, yes. He goes, get back in here. And then he turns to the class, and he goes, is anyone else watching this? Is anyone else watching this? And they're all kind of like, And he's like, do it again. I want everyone to watch, because Ken is the only guy who's able to do this. So now it goes to my head, and I'm like, wow, I must be really good at this. And it went right to my head. I was 18, grabs me, throws me, and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing because my ego was like through the moon. Excuse me. And I don't know how I bounced on that top rope, but when I bounced on that top rope, it kind of worked like, and wrestling rings, it's telephone cable. I think a lot of people don't know that. The ring ropes are telephone cable, often wrapped in duct tape. So that's why when you get a 300 or 400 pound guy and you throw him into the ropes, it can bounce him off. It can hold and support his weight because it's telephone cable. It's also why when you run the ropes, bouncing, you get bruised on your armpit, on your hip, and on your thigh because you're running into telephone cables. So I hit that top rope, and it pushes all the way down and then bounces me off. And I couldn't put my hand on anything, couldn't grab on anything. I'm flipping through the air, and I literally am flipping in through the air, and I look down, and there's this little rubber mat on the outside of the ring, like a protective mat, which, come on, it's like this thick rubber. But I've completely overshot the rubber mat. And I look down, and I see cement, and it was like that Roadrunner versus Coyote, where the coyote runs off the cliff and pauses in midair and then turns to the camera and holds up the sign that says like help and then falls. That was me. It was like the world stopped. All I could see was cement. My body was like this because I'm midair. So my head is over here. These are my feet. And I'm like this. And I just went all the way on the right side of my hip onto the concrete and just broke my entire back. Cracked a vertebrae in half. I'm sitting on the cement. The coach comes out and he was like, do you need an ambulance? Are you okay? And, because I was 18 and I felt like I had something to prove that I was a tough guy, I got up and I said, I'm totally fine. I'm okay. And he was like, sit out for the rest of the day. And I was like, nope, because I had heard from so many other wrestlers that if you get injured, you lose your spot. And I didn't want to lose my spot. I didn't want them to think on the very first day of class that I was a little baby and I got hurt and I was going to sit out. I had something to prove. I wanted to prove, no, I'm tough. No, I can be a wrestler. Yes, I landed on the cement. Yes, I fell 8 feet onto the cement. Yes, something is clearly wrong, but I'm not going to sit out for the rest of the day. I will prove to you that I am tough and I can do this. So I said, no, I'm totally fine. I can get back in the ring. I got back in the ring. And as soon as the coach turned around, like my whole body kind of like slumped to the side, like something was very wrong. I get back into the ring, 4 more hours, because it was halfway through the day, 4 more hours of getting slammed, hitting the ropes, getting clotheslined. And when I woke up the following morning, I could not move. Just like everything on me hurt. And we went to the hospital. My mom was still with me because my mom, instead of going like your parents taking you to college, my mom took me to wrestling school. So my mom was still there. And my mom was in the audience, or like she was sitting there on the first day of class taking pictures, which is, I think, on my Instagram somewhere. And I woke up the next morning and I looked at my mom and I was like, something is wrong. And I just was like, I don't feel this. Something's wrong. And we went to the hospital. I got an X-ray and an MRI. And the doctor came out and was like, were you in a car accident? Like, what happened to you? So there you go. That's how I broke my back training to be a pro wrestler. Ellie, how did you get a spot in the wrestling camp originally? It was a wrestling training school. So you signed a waiver. The waiver said, I understand that I could be paralyzed. I understand that I could be killed. I understand that I could have severe injuries. You sign your life. You pay $3,000 because that's what it cost. And anyone could be in the class. Opinion 2020. Are you a millionaire now after trading for a decade? No, I'm not a millionaire. I guess if you add up all my assets, probably. No, though. I mean, probably just short of a millionaire. I own my apartment, and that's, that accounts for a lot. I have a big portfolio, that accounts for a lot, but I don't know if I'm a millionaire yet. The thing about trading stocks that I think of so many people don't get is that they look on Instagram and they see a guy with a handful of cash and a Lamborghini and he goes, I'm a day trader, I'm a stock trader. Those people holding the bags of money in the Lambos are getting their money not necessarily from trading stocks. They're getting their money from selling courses, selling private discords. If they have 1,000 members paying $100 a month, they're making 10 grand a month just on sales. They can use that money then to trade, or they don't have to trade at all. If they have a basic understanding, they can bullshit their way through explaining some stock stuff. Some of them don't have to trade at all because they're just making so much money. So when they say they make their money from trading, it's a little bit of a lie. Sometimes you need a lot of money to make a lot of money as a trader. The real wealth comes from investing long term. So what I do is I take most of my swing trade profits range anywhere from $200 to $1,000. Range is important. It ranges. There's no set income here. So when I have my, if I'm pulling in 200, 1,000, 200, 1,000, it's very hard to become a millionaire, on those kind of gains, even if they're consistent. And markets change too, right? So 2016, I know this isn't politics. I'm not talking about politics. 2016, when Trump got elected, a couple things were going on. My grandma was sick. Then my grandma died. Trump got elected. Then my mom got sick. Then I broke up with my girlfriend of 6 years, all in 2016, the very beginning of 2016. So a lot of stuff was going on. So when all that stuff was going on, I stopped trading for 2016. Partially because my grandma had died, partially because my mom was sick, partially because my relationship of 6 years or 5 years was ending, and a little bit, honestly, because of Trump. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with the markets. So I backed off. So that was pretty much a lost year for me in terms of trading. I barely traded at all in 2016. 2017, I started to get a little bit back into it. But, I used some of my money that I had made to buy my apartment. So that eats into my cash. So when people say, are you a millionaire? Do I have $1 million in the bank? No. Do I have $1 million in assets between apartments and stocks and, other stuff? Maybe close. Now let me get some of these questions. Teebs, you're lucky you can walk. Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't land on my head, so I wasn't paralyzed or anything like that. I landed on my back. What I'm lucky, and they didn't want to operate because I was 18, and the doctor said just bed rest and don't move a lot for 6 months. So that's what I did. I still have sciatica on my right leg. A couple times a year, I see an acupuncturist who is a miracle worker. She does suction cupping too. So I still have back problems from that. Snickerdoodle, hey, I'm talking outside the topic. If the NBA were a stock market, what NBA team would you buy stock in? I don't watch. I'm not a sports person. So I don't know. Are we basing this off of like how good the team is? Or are we basing it on like the star power? Because, a lot of times you can find a stock that has great fundamentals and just never really goes anywhere. But then you have a stock that has terrible fundamentals and it flies, like Tesla or AMC or GameStop, because of the promise, because of the potential, because of, well, they're doing nothing now, but long term. Or it's just the person, right? Elon Musk. People love Elon, or they used to. I think people are finally smartening up and realizing he's full of shit. I mean, he might be smart and he might be all that stuff, but he's a pump and dumper when it comes to these cryptos and stuff. He's just like a rich guy who bought a company. Anyway, if we're talking about in terms of like star power, I don't know, what team does LeBron James play on? Tolly, what a story. Yeah. Hell of a story. The Lakers. LeBron's on the Lakers? That's who I'd buy. I'd buy stock in the Lakers. I felt like Doink could go somewhere, but he never got the chip. Doink? Yeah. He died, didn't he? Doink the Clown, whoever he was. Forget his name, Steve something. I think he died a couple years ago. Try IMS. What's IMS? For sciatica from physio? I had physical therapy, but I don't know what IMS is. I would buy stock. If you want to talk about what sports teams I would buy stock in, I would buy stock in the Lakers for basketball if they were publicly traded. I would buy stock in the Yankees if they were publicly traded. And baseball? What baseball team would I buy if it was publicly traded? Can't think, because I don't know sports. Nationals, because I live in D.C. McMill, Alex, if you don't know the answer to this, it's cool. But do you know if you can day trade on Coinbase? Yeah, you can day trade. You can day trade cryptocurrencies. But I think they have fees associated with crypto, and I think the fees can be pretty high. So I'd be careful about that on Coinbase. I do know Crypto.com, the more you trade, the lower the fees become. So if you wanted to day trade cryptocurrency, I would look into a place like Crypto.com that has lower fees. Let me read some more of these comments, and then we're going to wrap this up. This has been a long time. I don't know what time it is. What time is it on the East Coast? Intermuscular something. Okay, I'll look into that. Hey, Anu. Have any thoughts on Fidelity's zero large cap? It's supposed to track the S&P. Things Lucy does. You just joined? I'm not going yet. 11:23. Whoa, it's late. Anu, I don't know about Fidelity's zero large cap that tracks the S&P, but it sounds like the majority of the others that track the S&P, like VOO or SPY, and there are others that. The thing about these ETFs that track the S&P, what you want to look for is the most affordable with the lowest fees. Reason being, they're all pretty much the same. So, you know, it would be like spending $40 on a pizza when you could spend $15, and you're getting basically the same pizza. Why would you spend $40 when you could spend $15? So why would you spend, say, $400 or $500 or whatever SPY is when VOO might be $380? But there are others. Vanguard has an S&P one, and I would have to look at the Fidelity large cap to see what how much it trades for and what their fees are. But you want to find one with the lowest fees. 0.04% is pretty standard. Anything more than that, I'd stay away from. You don't want to pay those large fees, and the fees somehow are baked in. I'm not exactly sure how the fees. You don't get a bill, in other words. Things Lucy does. Can you do a too long didn't read on AMC? Okay, so here's the thing for AMC, because I've repeated this like 4,000 times on this live tonight. Lucy, I assume that's your name. I'm going to download this live and put it on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel, it's in my bio. You can go and you can rewatch and jump around to see what I had to say about AMC. The too long didn't read is a short squeeze is possible. It won't be probably as big as GameStop's because GameStop had fewer shares and much higher short interest. AMC has more shares and a smaller short interest of around 20%. Doesn't mean that it can't squeeze. Doesn't mean that it can't go higher. Will it hit 1,000 like people are saying? Probably not. Will it hit 100,000 like I've seen some people on YouTube say? Probably absolutely not. Could it get to 50 or 75, maybe even 100? It's possible. If your goal is to hold out for some unrealistic value, $300 or something, I would say start locking in some gains next week if we get into the 50s. I don't want to say it's over here. It hit 37, it dropped. It's hard to say what's going to happen. It's hard to say what's going to happen. I don't know if, if more people short this stock, hedge funds and whatever, it could have a squeeze again, but it might not. Opinion 2020, when can we end Elon hype? I think the Elon hype has kind of run its course. I think it's over. I think people realized finally that the billionaires are not on our side. I think they finally realized it. It was fun for a while. Elon was pumping Doge. People were, hanging on his every word. What's he going to say next? What's he going to say next? And I think people have gotten a little it's Elon fatigue. I think they're fatigued. I think they've gotten tired of him. And he tweets this and then he tweets that and it doesn't really move anymore. It doesn't move nearly as much. I get headline alerts on my phone at least once a day. Elon tweets, Dogecoin moves. But then I go and check Dogecoin, it's barely up. So I think the Elon hype might be finally fizzling. Things Lucy does, you are welcome. Lucy, I clicked on your bio. You're in San Francisco. I've never been to... No, I've been to San Francisco when I was a kid. Not as an adult, but I want to. I want to go back. So remember me when I come visit. All right, everybody. Should I wrap it up? Because it's 11:30. Now I don't trust the evil and Elon guy. Probably shouldn't trust him. I always felt like he was manipulating, Bitcoin and Dogecoin and stuff, which is fine if you're on the right side of his trade and you ride that momentum. That's what swing trading is. It's all about riding momentum. So whether you look at Elon and you go, this guy is the greatest or this guy is an asshole, kind of doesn't really matter. If he's going crazy about Dogecoin and Dogecoin is responding favorably to every tweet that he makes, then you copy his trades. You ride that momentum. That's what momentum trading is. It's looking for where is everyone talking. I'm going to ride it a little bit and then get out. Elon is a Botox troll. Yeah. Is he Botoxed? I know he got hair things. I mean, I'm losing my hair. I'm not getting extensions. Bitcoin going to 20 to 25. Yep. Oh, hey, Michael. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't know if it'll get to 20, but I definitely think Bitcoin could get into the, hey, Trade Blondie. Hi. I definitely think Bitcoin could get into the under 30, maybe 28, maybe 25. I don't know if it's going to go much lower because I think at a certain point, all these whales are just going to rush in and buy up as much as they can. Opinion, thank you for the rose. Trade Blondie, good evening. Popping in for a minute. Welcome. I'm kind of wrapping this up anyway, so it's good timing. Ellie, I want to be as rich as Elon, where my hair grows back. Yeah. You know you're rich when your hair just magically grows back. Completely lawless. I thought it said you were leaving. When the SEC shuts down your Twitter, that's an exclusive club. Elon and Trump. Yeah. D. Rahim 89. Do you think AMC will squeeze? Man, you missed this whole live. I've been live for like the last 2 hours talking about this. since you are new, I'm not going to repeat because I've just repeated it for somebody else. I'm going to take this live. I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel probably tomorrow morning. So go check tomorrow morning because it takes, when you end a live here on TikTok, it's not automatically able to download. No worries. Lawless, you don't have to leave if you don't want to. So yes, I think there might be another squeeze coming for AMC, but like I've been saying all night, I don't think it'll be at the scale of GameStop because AMC has more shares and a lower short interest. Makes it unlikely that it'll squeeze as much as GameStop did. And I think that's going to be the end of this one, you guys. What do you think? All done? All done? Anu? Are you still in here? Where's Anu? Did she leave? Anu, hi. Okay. When Anu says it's time to go, it's time to go. So good night, everybody. We'll plan some sort of trip. I'll come up to New York and visit everybody. Ellie, I'm glad you love the content. Opinion, I'm afraid AMC might react opposite. It could. All right, so you heard it from Anu. When Anu says it's bedtime, it's bedtime. So we're going to wrap this up here. Trade Blondie, I don't know if you're still in here, but have a good night. Trade Blondie, perfect timing. Yes, we're going to go live next time. I have a bunch of lives that I was supposed to do with, I know we had talked about it, someone named Iris. I've talked about it with her. Kalechi, we've talked about going live as well. So Trade Blondie, we will go live. We will go live at some point, maybe next week if you're around. And have a good night, everybody. Opinion, thank you. Have a good night. Bye, everybody. Oh, Trade Blondie, it's been the busiest trading week. Good. Busy means money, I hope. I'm going to wait for you to respond, and then I'm going to jump out of here and go to bed. Also, I want to see if Pablo is still alive. Lawless, see you later. Trade Blondie. Yes, yes, yes. What's the new strategy? You know what, Trade Blondie, I often say this. The busier that I am on TikTok, the quieter my trading week is. So for people who always want to know, like, what's it like to be a stock trader? How busy are you? You can basically gauge based on my TikTok videos. If I'm not making many, it's a busy week. If I'm making a ton, I'm bored. Soon to fly. Lawless, no, you say goodbye. No, you hang up first. I love you too, Schmoopy. Okay, I really swear this time I am going to bed. Good night, everybody. Bye, Trade Blondie. Bye, Anu. Bye, everybody else. I'm going to bed. Oh, Jesus. I bought AMC at 2:30. This live is never going to end. Did you sell your AMC that you bought at 2:30 or you're still holding? This is like that Sherry Lewis song from when we were kids. Lamb Chop, this is a song that never ends. Thebes, you're still here. One question. All right, what's up? What's your one question? I'm waiting on you, Lawless. You're keeping everybody up. What about AMC? Oh my God. Okay, good night, everybody. I'm going to end it now. I'm hitting the end button. I love you, Schmoopy.